Well, what have we got lined up today? We've got a bunch of news on the docket. So y'all are going to get a little taste of the drop for the first time in a little while. Yeah, lots of stuff today. Was there a showcase this morning or something? Because the God of War stuff just popped up.
There was just a lot of stuff going on Twitter.
Classic Twitter.
A lot of individual announcements. Like, Square just hasn't stopped in the past 2 weeks. They just keep shouting things.
You know who else hasn't stopped? Radio Shack. Actually, I don't know if Radio Shack has stopped.
I haven't looked in the last couple days.
Probably somebody should have shut that thing down. At first you're like, wow, this is crazy, and then you're like, whoa, this is crazy. Whoa. Because, like...
It's like somebody said, like, ooh, look at what Wendy's is doing. Let's make this, like, the worst version of that.
The worst version. Because, like, on one hand, it's kind of funny. There's, like, the absolute unexpected vulgarity of it all. But then you got to imagine that, like, consent matters. And people who follow a channel like Radio Shack consent to a very normal type of content. So for all that stuff to just, like, suddenly be in their feed, it's like, yo, this is alarming, you know? I genuinely feel bad for, like, normies who are not into that stuff, who are just like, yo. Like, the person who unironically tweeted, they're like, you know, you lost a customer today, us and other people, blah, 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 we're never going to forget this. And it's like, okay, well, that's a really silly, militant way for you to say that. But what you're saying is true. It's heckin' Radio Shack where you buy AA batteries for people who
and nothing else
still need those. Yeah, right.
I mean, was it the Nutter Butters? Is that the one that was like the way that I nut at you or something?
Yeah,
like,
and it's for the way, like, you nut at me or whatever. Which it's supposed to be a play on, like, that, you know, the old-timey song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean...
It did not translate.
The flavor is different.
Wow. If Chris was here, he'd say phrasing.
Pour one out for Chris.
Yeah, pour one out for Chris. Chris is spending today at Wednesday night drinking practice, which not only is an activity, that is a podcast.
Which I just learned today. So I was really confused.
Yeah,
he said he was going.
He invited me to be on that podcast with him one time, but we showed up and hung out at this person's house in their garage where they record. And they just didn't show up at their own house, basically. Like, there was someone else who's there who's like, oh, yeah, I think they canceled. And Chris and I are sitting there at the table, and we're just like, now what do we do? I mean, you know, Kansas City is a relatively small place, so that house was like 5 minutes from Chris's house at the time. So, you know, I think we just went back there or something. But it was like, you know, how unexpected that a podcast called Wednesday Night Drinking Practice might have, you know, a questionable reliability or something. But this is not a podcast about the questionable reliability of Wednesday Night Drinking Practice. This is a podcast where we're going to turn down the music and get started here in a second. Thanks everybody for joining us. Odysseus. Yeah, well, that's fine then. Thanks for popping in. Odysseus, Anomalous. You guys get the award for showing up on time. Or whatever showing up at the appropriate time is at a party. Fashionably...
First drink, you know.
Yeah. You're there while we're still, like, putting up a couple streamers, but we're almost finished, and...
You know, there are still wine coolers available for you. If if you're anybody else that came out at the wrong time, then they're not there. But you got your pick.
When we used to host... what were they called? The strictly casuals. Man, it's been a minute since I said those words out loud. Since I used to host those at Tapcade and Local Legends when that was a brick and mortar. Sometimes people would show up a little earlier and they're like, "Hey, can I help?" And I had to just tell them the same thing when I'm setting up any of my own hardware. I'm just like, please go over there. I don't want anybody to touch my stuff but me, because when it breaks, I need to be the one who broke it. because if you break it, then I'm going to be mad. But if I break it, then I'll just have to deal with it. But people would show up early and I'd still be setting up, and I want to talk to them, and I want to go and grab a beer from the bar, and I want to do all this stuff, but I'm like, Thomas, hold it together. Hold it together for 15 more minutes. You get this set up, and then it runs itself. That's kind of like our new format here on the podcast of just being a little more casual in our approach. I think it's a lot more fun, relaxed, and we don't have to stress so much about what's going to be on the show. We know there's going to be a show. We know that all three of us are playing plenty of stuff. We have plenty of things to say, and no matter what, it's going to work out. Hello, and welcome to the Party Invite Show, where we strive to bring people a little bit closer together to play, discuss, and enjoy everything video games. Every week we bring you a show in two parts. First, we have the video podcast, followed by the game stream. I'm your host, Tegan, and joining me today is Vilos.
Yo.
And over here we got Sovereign Sid.
Hello.
And we've got a bunch of news on the list today, so it's an informative show. We'll be bringing back The Drop, which is a segment we haven't revisited in a little while. For those who haven't heard it, The Drop is where we quickly rapid fire a bunch of news. We take turns picking stuff we're interested in, and we try to keep it to 2 minutes or less. We almost always fail, but the effort is to keep it short and sweet. But let's first talk about what we've been playing, our bread and butter here. I'll start first just because we streamed this last night. We streamed it after the show last week. I've been playing Prey. If Chris was here, we'd gush about it, pretty much the whole show. But he's not, so what I will tell you is Prey is a game from 2017. It is made by Arcane Studios, who's made a bunch of other stuff, Dishonored, Deathloop, and I want to say there's one I'm forgetting. But it is easily my favorite Arcane Studios game that I've played. I've played Deathloop and I've briefly touched Dishonored, but Prey is so much fun. It is a shock subgenre game, so if you've ever played BioShock, this is that. But in space with less political bent. Prey's a really good game, y'all. It's got so many systems. Chris keeps describing it as an immersive sim. This is a game where you have a ton of abilities, a ton of weapons. I mean, your weapon wheel has like 14 slots or something, maybe 16.
That's like Ratchet and Clank, like level weaponry.
It's wild. So you can really customize the way that you build. You get a ton of these neuromods, the currency that you use to level yourself up. And because you get so many neuromods, you have lots of options to spend on things. You don't have to be so thoughtful about exactly how you're going to build your character. They give you enough neuromods that you could just throw points at stuff to try it out, which I love. I don't like it when games give you very limited resources, and you don't have context for what you should and shouldn't put points in. So I've been playing this. I played a session last week for about 3 hours, and a session yesterday, maybe a little shorter than that. But the game has this kind of open world vibe to it. That's not really the right description, but they've got these big open areas that have all sorts of nooks and crannies you can look in, and the game highly rewards you for not only looking closely at things, but traversing the world the way that you want. My favorite part of the game that we've visited that illustrated the strengths of this game is the security office we went into yesterday. There's a security office that you can clearly get into somehow, but I wasn't sure, which approach to take. So you can either explore the whole area you're in and find the key card, which will just open the door. I did find that key card, but I found it later after I'd already gotten in. The first thing I really tried was we found basically a Nerf crossbow, which you use to press buttons and touch computer screens and stuff from far away. So I found that thing, and I went to the security office, and I could tell that on my side of the locked door, there's a big button that says open. So I'm like, okay, all I need to do is shoot this thing with my Nerf crossbow. Well, I could tell that it was possible, but I couldn't pull it off. Couldn't figure it out. So I was like, man, maybe I'll just come back later. And Chris goes, hey, do you want me to give you a hint? Because we've been having so much fun playing this that Chris, who's already beaten the game, went and re-downloaded it. So has Lord Chrome, who, if he shows up at his normal time, he'll show up about 2/3 of the way through the show, like clockwork. He went and re-downloaded the game too. Like, it is just a blast of replayability. You can just re-experience things in new ways. But Chris tells me, the game told you that there are multiple entrances to just about anywhere you go. So think about that and, see what you can do. So I found the locked door from the locked side, from the outside, and I was able to just climb up on the terrain up into the vents, and of course there was an open vent I could climb into, and I was able to drop into the room. So that was 3 different approaches I could have used to get into this room that had a bunch of cool stuff in it, and the fact that it allowed me to really choose which way I wanted was so refreshing. You've got all that, and then you've got a glue gun that not only can you use to, use it as an adhesive to immobilize the enemies, but you can shoot it on walls, and then you can climb up on it like stairs or, like a platform, which just opens up so many options, so many non-linear ways to explore this beautiful but, terrible space station. So that was wonderful. I was in the room, and I almost missed a shotgun that was in plain sight on one of the desks, but there's so much to look at all the time that I didn't even see it. I turned to walk away, and Chris is like, maybe you go check that desk again in case you missed anything. And there's a brand new weapon on it. And I explored another little nook, just a tiny little nook between this desk and the wall. And I had to jump to look over there. I was just doing it for fun. And I look, and there are a bunch of neuromods, the thing I use to upgrade my skills. And Chris was like, oh, I never knew that was there. Well, I'm going to load the game up right now and go grab that. But all of that happened in that room was just such a nice, tight version of that whole game. So much choose your own bloody blah. Choose your own skills, choose your own method of traversal, choose your weapons, all that stuff. So I'm really into that. They've got lots of cool, fun notes and stuff to read, which I really like, but you could totally ignore if you wanted to. But I could tell you more, but I'll probably just save more for next week because I'm going to really try to get through this game quicker than I get through most games. I'm going to stream all of it, and we'll end up putting all of it on our YouTube before the end. But man, yeah, so Prey came out in 2017 by Arcane Studios. I got it for free through the Epic Store, and it's been free on the Epic Store a bunch of times. It's also on Game Pass right now. And I want to say that PlayStation Plus gave it away a while back too. So this is a game that the world wants you to play. So if you get a chance to play it, man, I mean, it's just full of things to enjoy. But the best thing I can say is if you even remotely like BioShock, then you need to play this game. It's just more of all those wonderful systems. So
the way that you described it, it was reminiscent of Breath of the Wild almost. You have so many different paths to do anything in that game. And it's one of those kinds of things where it's like, I wonder if this will work. And then it does. And then you just get that satisfaction of I don't know, completion or something. Like you wanted to try a thing and it worked and it was really cool. So,
and it feels like it's your victory,
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There are very few games that allow you that specific kind of freedom.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the game's got a good sense of humor. The technology you get, like the weapons.
The password. Hot boss.
Oh yeah, Hot Boss was the password to the computer. The glue gun, when you shoot it, has these big balls of glue that harden, and in basically the R&D department, you can find this environmental storytelling where the staffers used the glue gun to make a snowman, and they like decorated it with office supplies and stuff.
Oh,
it was good stuff. And then lots of bits of me getting scared by the mimics because they'll just be disguised as something, and I'll walk up and freak out. So that's wonderful. That is a great game that everybody should go play. If you like shooters and you like choose your own adventures, basically. It doesn't have like dialogue choices like Mass Effect or anything, but it's got just about every other thing that you can customize. So that's Prey. We're not gonna play that tonight, but I will probably play that between now and next week's show. So keep an eye on our Twitch channel for that.
Hell yeah.
All right. Let's see. I tell you what, Vilos, do you want to knock out yours next?
Yeah. Mine's an easy one. I will say I played about 30 minutes of Halo Infinite because I was hoping to see if that campaign co-op had, done any dropping, but it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So sad days. I realized that I was on heroic mode and got absolutely wrecked that entire 30 minutes.
On heroic?
Because I was, yeah. I tried messing with my settings. I didn't realize I had messed up my settings completely. Like dead zones were completely off. Like I don't know what happened to my settings from because I had Steam for multiplayer previously, and I switched it back to Game Pass, and something weird happened. I don't know. But the game I've played the most this week, unfortunately, has been Madden 22, as I put in the doc, because I hate myself. But if we're going to play this little video, I want to give a shout out to TPS or Total Pro Sports. This is their video that you might see here that's got some lovely Madden 22 glitches because that is really the Madden experience.
It's maddening. Huh?
You literally beat me to it.
Yep. I had it. Gotta go fast.
You had that one in the chamber.
But Madden 22 it's just a continuation of the entirety of Madden as a whole. It's one of those things that for me is just a personal convenience comfort game to play when I just don't have the energy to do, get into Fire Emblem like I want to do. If I'm just sitting here struggling because it's like fucking hot at the computer, I don't want to move. I'm gonna get on Madden 22 because it's on Game Pass. I am not giving EA my money in the slightest, but it's there. The franchise mode is just an addiction for anybody that ever plays franchise modes in games. And if you're a stat tracker, a data person, like, dude, just getting stats is gonna be the thing that keeps you playing. And as you can see in this video, the glitches are insane. They are pretty often that you can find something actually unique. I have played Madden for 2 decades, and the same glitches are still happening in brand new engines.
Well, look at that glitch.
And look at that glitch.
Speaking of glitches.
Oh my god. YouTube ad for free. Look at that. But Madden is one of those games that you just play to turn off your mind, and it does its job. But there's a really fun community with it. I constantly look at the Madden 22 Reddit. It's just people shitting on it constantly, but at the end of the day, that information actually does get to the devs, which is really funny. And it eventually leads to some sort of progress. Yeah, right here you see time freezes for those 2 players in particular.
Oh, God.
For no apparent reason.
Oh my god. Kronos was just like, fuck these 2 guys in particular. Just
This happens so often, it's not even funny. Like, I have a thing that I'm actually going to share on my own Twitter tonight. I forgot to do it the other day. But there are moments where these canned animations screw up the entirety of the game. The one that I'm going to share tonight, I dropped back for a pass, and my quarterback is like ready and raring to go. I'm waiting for this this wide receiver to get open on his route, and he's like right there. He's so close, and out of nowhere, my quarterback just falls down. Just he stumbles and falls, and because it's a canned animation, it just goes, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Literally nothing you can do. You can't press any buttons to do anything. And in the video, you literally see I'm like 3 feet away from my nearest from the nearest other player, and my quarterback has his ball, and he's just like and stumble, just straight up destroys the play, destroys everything I was trying to do. And it's those kind of things that haunt you basically every game.
My leg.
That football player just did a real spin move.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like finding these glitch highlight reels and stuff like that is really phenomenal.
It makes it all worth it.
It almost does. It really does. Like this guy, oh my god, this guy was about to get a touchdown, like no doubt, and he just stumbled, and there's nothing that made him fall. I just can't. I just can't. I will
like,
never
what if
pay
we add
money for another Madden.
Super Smash Brothers Brawl. They're like, let's take the tripping animation from Super Smash Brothers Brawl and add it into Madden. It's what people have been asking for years. Let's finally give the people what they want.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, it's like, there are alternatives, but they're not good enough. Like, the best alternative, in my point of view, is, what is it called? It's the Mutant Dynasty, or Dynasty Mutant Football, or Mutant Dynasty Football, something like that. I just got it like $7 on the eShop on my Switch, because I played it a couple of years ago, and it was pretty fun. But it's basically a Blitz alternative. Like, you're playing as these demonic monster characters that are vaguely named after actual NFL players. And that's the best you can get, because Madden has the sole NFL license. So it is what it is. It's a game. It has a very small amount of perks and a whole lot of issues.
These glitches are so funny.
Yeah, I seriously, like, I will tell anybody, you should just watch these glitch videos, and you'll be entertained for way too long, even if you're not a sports fan. Like, literally that one that just showed there's no defense and you just get a freebie touchdown. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
I kind of understand, like, playing, games like this just for comfort's sake, because I do that with Tech Mobile all the time. I just got it for the Nintendo Switch Online, like, Virtual Console when it came out there. But then I also found a copy at the retro shop where I work. Well, the sister company to where I work, which is the arcade. There was a copy of Tech Mobile there for like $3. So I was just like, snatch, because I still have my NES. So now I can play it on the go and at home authentically. But yeah, like, I'm probably the furthest thing from, like, the jock or whatever. But like Tech Mobile has like a special place in my heart. And so when you said you played Madden 22, I was just like, what? But also I understood.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, if Tecmo Bowl had stats that you could keep for an entire franchise mode, I would play Tecmo Bowl like all the time.
Nerd. I just play for the hut, which is still Nintendo's best tweet to date, by the way.
True.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful football experience. I can't see why anyone wouldn't buy that game.
For free.
Do you think they're going to come out with one next year?
Oh man, that's wild. You know what? They're going to come out with one in like 30 days or less. It's July. Wow, yeah.
Oh, really?
With now a new sweatier engine.
Yeah. I think it's literally 3 weeks now.
This is like capitalism, the game. It says, why fix the game we made when we can just recycle it and make a new one?
Yeah.
Call of Duty Sports Edition.
Man. Yeah. But like, even more, because it just comes out every single year. There's a new model every year. You don't even have to have like a new name, a new franchise, anything like that. They almost have, what is it? Is it the NCAA is still potentially getting it back in games?
Supposedly this year, yeah.
Did we?
But it's also by EA, so.
How?
diff.
What was the final word on athletes getting paid for their likeness? Is that still up in the air?
They are doing it. They're going to
Okay,
do it.
that's cool.
Oh my
They
gosh, EA
have
actually
to
sacrificing money? What?
now. There's a whole like federal inquiry about it or whatever.
Yeah,
So
there
yeah,
freaking should be. I remember watching John Oliver's thing about it years ago. I haven't watched John Oliver's show in ages, but he did one about the NCAA and players' likenesses and how, um, you know, the companies would make millions of dollars off of them, their real name, their models, all of this stuff, merchandising, and the players couldn't. They legally could not make money off of it, and there was nothing they could do about it. And that's wrong. That's stealing
yeah.
labor.
And then it's like if a coach or a higher up at a college offers this something, this quote unquote gift to a player, they're supposed to decline it, dude. Like I think it was Reggie Bush's mom or something like got a free rental home or something like that out of it. And it's like, dude, if you tell me that my mom, who's not in a good place right now, is going to get free living space for the 4 years I'm at college, you're going to tell me I'm going to say no to that?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Deadpool in chat says, "I'd like to buy the Madden yearly subscription, please, for the low price of $70."
Yeah. For very incremental change, if any.
But if they did something like that, though, I wonder if that could actually have a payoff. I mean, you could imagine if they did like a battle pass for Madden somehow, right? Like, you pay a ticket. I mean, I'm almost surprised they haven't done this already. Where like you pay the NFL ticket,
Don't
the
they have
thing
like
that you get that you pay to like actually watch NFL games. Because remember years ago when the Xbox One was being like unveiled for the first time and they were showing it at like E3 and all this stuff back when E3 was like super conferencey. And they were like, check this out. It's going to be your entertainment box. It's going to have everything. Oh, you want to watch football on the Xbox at the same time as your friend and take a replay and do picture-in-picture and all this stuff. And all that stuff does sound cool. That's not what happened. But clearly it was on the minds of these corporations who were willing to spend the money to make these big changes. And so I'm surprised that there hasn't been big incorporation of something like that. A subscription that's basically a battle pass.
See, Tegan, I think you are missing what they actually did.
Oh.
What they actually did was adding Ultimate Team to both FIFA and NFL. Ultimate Team is you buying trading card packs.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why they don't have to do anything different anymore at all, because they aren't losing money out on this Game Pass deal. Because they are selling Ultimate Team packs and people are still actually buying them constantly in game. And like people are actually buying individual players from other people, because I got this card for trading in this auction, and like there's a full auction.
It's like a whole market. Yeah,
as if it was actually trading cards, like they're digital trading cards essentially.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, and then EA will do some shit like they did with this EA Play Game Pass thing, where they took the cloud games off. They took all the cloud options off. So I bought Madden 20 or 19, one of the two, digitally on Xbox, $20. I am never paying more than $20 for Madden ever. I bought it on Xbox, and then because I no longer have a system, I played it through Game Pass Ultimate on the cloud. They removed that option. EA specifically moved that option from Game Pass. So you can only play 22, and you can only play 22, or I think 21 as well, strictly by PC download. You cannot play it by the cloud.
Why? Like
money.
Well, but I mean, how does that make them more money though?
It just funnels everything into their newest product.
I see. Well, dang.
Yeah. No,
this has been schooling with Vilos.
Yeah.
We'll check back. I mean, so really, the next Madden is coming out like real soon. You mentioned July.
Yeah, like close to it keeps coming up. Like it goes up. It comes out earlier, like a week every year, every season. So I think it It's either the last week of July or the first week of August that it should be coming out. Yeah.
When does
very
football
soon.
season start? Like, when does preseason start?
Second week of September.
Yeah.
Really?
So
I feel like it
July,
starts sooner than that.
August, September.
Sorry. Regular season is the second week of September. Maybe even the first week this time. But they chopped off one of the preseason games as well.
And you have to buy it as DLC.
Actual preseason. Actual preseason's like beginning of August. Yeah.
I feel like football is never off, honestly.
I mean, once it starts, like, we get this brief period that we have right now, which is like, I don't know. I know less about sports than at least Chris, probably definitely less than you, Carlos, here. I mean, at least about Madden. But now it's like soccer season, and then football season starts, and then baseball is like going on forever. Baseball.
Yes.
I saw a joke. I was listening to NPR coverage or whatever back when the strike was still happening, which I wouldn't have known about if I wasn't listening to the radio, where the players were demanding more money and all this stuff. And eventually they just had to like give in because fans were like, we need baseball. Because in America, people want the product more than they want the, compensation for the laborers and stuff. Even though, of course, like athletes are their own thing. But it was like Stephen Colbert. Somebody was like, "Oh no," or no, it was Jimmy Fallon. He goes, "Oh no, we already lost the very first game of baseball, and now we only have 300 more left this season." It's like, oh my gosh, dude. I can't watch baseball because they have, I mean, this is half true, because they have way too many games. The same reason I can't watch basketball, because there are way too many scores. It's just like, and he shoots, he scores. He shoots, he scores. He shoots, he misses. He shoots, he scores. Football, they got rounds. I mean, that's more video gamey. I can wrap my head around it. They have plays. One team, takes a turn on offense and defense. You score a touchdown, everybody cheers. There's no question on whether he scored or not, or like who is responsible.
The running back pushes the payload.
That's right. Thank you. That's wonderful. What we were playing recently? Oh no, actually, this was in my friend's chat. But Lizzie and I went to a soccer game. We went to the Sporting Kansas City game up here in Seattle. This was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it was properly hot out here. So I know you guys, like, I'm not gonna get any sympathy from you guys, but it was the first day that we had been in like real heat, and the field here is AstroTurf, which, like the rest of Seattle, you've got like concrete and stuff, but everything's green, so it never really gets like hot. But we were out there really close to the field, and we were just melting. But we're joking. Lizzie and I are talking. We're like, okay, so if we had to relate this to video games, what are the roles here? Like, which role is the support? Which role is the tank? And, who are the DPS? And so we like talked that out, and then we took the decisions we had made, and we took it to our group chat, and they were like, well, if you consider the, this position, the way that it works and stuff. So that was fun to just translate that over to, video game lingo. But
it's like, actually forget we asked.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I will be excited for football. I like watching football more than any sport, at least on TV anyway. And there aren't glitches when you watch it on TV,
Well,
I mean, sometimes, but so that's
Chiefs will be better than the Royals, though. So there you go.
There's no doubt about that. I don't know nothing about baseball, but I can tell you that's going to be true. We still got Patrick, and on Patrick Mahomes' worst day, we can still be better than
become the Grim Reaper.
Become the Grim Reaper.
I'm glad that's always going to be the one thing you'll take away from it. So
if you keep that up, I'm gonna buy you a Grim Reaper shirt. It'll be. I tell you what, I need to watch more of the. I keep messing up the name, but now that it's out in the wild, we can talk about it on the podcast. The Team Liquid show that you were on.
Oh, the Next Wave.
Next Wave. I keep incorrectly calling it the New Wave, which
I did that like during my audition, and they still use that footage. So I think it's.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, I think it's like acceptable. You know how when you like very slightly misspell something in Google, and it's like, I know what you meant.
Yeah,
right, I got you.
Yeah. Second episode tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna do something crazy in there. I mean, I hope you do. I don't know. Of course, I hope you do well. But I'll still be your friend no matter what.
Yay!
But I want you to do something spectacular. Just underdog. Things are looking rough, but you pulled it off, and I'll be like, now's the day I send this Grim Reaper shirt. I just gotta hope it arrives in time. It'll become the Grim Reaper.
Oh my god. That's funny. My mom would actually really appreciate that because, like, we've been a Chiefs household since I was born, basically. So,
I mean, we've got a subathon coming up. Maybe instead of actually upgrading any of our content or our streams, I just spend all of the money on a Grim Reaper Chiefs t-shirt to send your mom. It's a plan. It's settled.
Hey.
All right. Well, that's Madden 22. Or it was a while back.
It was.
Sav, what would you like to talk about?
So my first game on here that I have, despite my terrific Teenage Turtle Tea and Tank combo, is Streets of Rage 4. Aha. Although I have been playing some TMNT Shredder's Revenge, but I've been playing a lot more Streets of Rage 4 lately. And it is the direct sequel, in the the most recent installment in the Streets of Rage series, published by .emu, the same people responsible for Shredder's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they have a good track record so far. I haven't been disappointed by anything they put out that I have played. So what I wanted to do with my last stream was recreate that sleepover feel. Like you were little, you went to your friend's house and you played a whole bunch of arcade classics, and you stayed up eating pizza and drinking soda and ding dong ditching and making crank calls and whatnot.
Poopy bags, paper bags full of dog poop.
Oh my gosh, that's so old.
Right?
I never did that, but I remember when that was a thing. That's crazy.
It's an aside. My friends, we grew up playing Kick the Can, and I think we were the last humans in the state of Missouri to play Kick the Can.
I don't know. There's some.
I mean, that's a national sport in Missouri right now.
Well, my old crotchety self says that I don't seem to see a lot of kids just playing outside anymore. So I hope that somewhere out there's a group of kids from all the houses up and down the street out there playing Kick the Can this summer. Anyway.
This summer's about to make us kick the bucket with how hot it's been. But no, it was a lot of fun. OBS ended up being the one to play the crank call on me. Whoa. And I just had to give in, not even 20 minutes to the stream. And hopefully the fixes to my PC that I've done, basically just factory resetting it, will fix that. But if not, we'll see. But that's what I spent, a lot of time playing Streets of Rage 4. And, it's a fun little romp to go back to. It's like a beat 'em up, which is my favorite genre, my absolute favorite genre of anything to play. Despite my actual favorite game being Donkey Kong Country, which is not that. Because I think I've said this before on the podcast, but I really like the different ways that you can express your personality through how you play the game. All the different, there's so many different strings and combos that you can do with the kit that you're given. And so when I'm watching playthroughs of this game and I see people just button mashing just the basic combo over and over and not really getting fancy or even deviating from that, I just first of all, I get bored and then I get angry because there's so much that you can do,
Yeah.
Bowser and I were watching, I think it was Grand Pooh Bear play Shredder's Revenge, and he was just X Masher, and I was like, "What? This is boring. What's happening?"
There's more to life than the X button,
There is. There's jump attacks, dash attacks, slide attacks, block attacks, grab attacks, special attacks. There's so many things that you could be doing. He's just eh. But I mean, if that's the way you play, that's the way you play, and it gets you from A to B, and you can keep those combos going forever. So.
It gets you from X to X, that's for sure. Yeah, I have seen a bunch of footage of this over the past couple of years from times that you've talked about it, and I've had friends who've picked it up, especially a couple of friends who don't do a lot of gaming, and every time I see this, I'm just like, dang. The aesthetic of it, I mean, what you're describing as the depth of combat where you can really choose how to play and all this stuff. I mean, I'm a broken record here, but I really enjoy Mother Russia Bleeds, and I wish that we could play it online together. But that is a game that looks really simple. It seems like it only has 4 attacks. But then you start really messing around and accidentally hitting things as you're button mashing. only to discover that there are 8 attacks, and then there are like really 8 with 2 other tweaks you can do with them, and then there are also items you can pick up, which you can do all extra stuff with. And I was just surprised. I've beaten that game like 2.5 times, and it's the only beat 'em up I've come close to beating. I mean, I've maybe beaten a solid chunk of like Turtles in Time or something in an arcade, probably. But yeah, the depth to be able to go back and revisit a game like that is really nice. And this Streets of Rage seems like the cream of the crop as far as this, right? It just seems like the best part of every beat 'em up I've ever seen in it.
Yeah, they really did a good job, like just recreating the feeling of playing an original Streets of Rage game. Streets of Rage 1 is actually like my second favorite. Well, second. Yeah, second favorite video game of all time. And I don't know what it is with me in fighting games because I think I said Soul Calibur 3 last week was my favorite, like my third favorite.
Yeah.
But so when this game was first announced, I was just like all over it. And then they released the fact that it's like all of this hand-drawn artistry, like you see in the trailer here. Everything is hand-drawn. The art gallery is just phenomenal because you could see all the concept art and everything like that. It's kind of like going through Double Dragon Neon, if anybody's played that, where it's just like this loving homage while also being like its own sort of thing. That's welcome to people who are new to the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually just added a DLC. Well, not just, I'm not really sure when it came out, but there's DLC that you can get that unlocks 3 more characters that appear in the game initially as bosses. And they added palette swaps, which, character customization. And the palette swaps themselves seem to be homages to like other characters from other games too. So it's fun going through the different colors and seeing like who they're referencing and what in the game. But then there's like the boss rush mode, and then story and arcade, of course, and then like challenge hard mode and whatnot. And you can drop in, drop out party with anyone at any time during your play. So like it's just really good, y'all.
Yeah, that update was the Mr. X update, right?
Mr. X's Nightmare, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Mr. X's Nightmare.
Yeah.
So Mr. X is like the big bad of the Streets of Rage series. He's like, basically a mafia like kingpin that basically runs the city, And you in the course of the 3 games you defeat him. And so in the 4th one, it's his offspring that you're facing. But then in Mr. X's Nightmare, I think somehow he returns. I don't actually have the DLC, so I can't really speak on that.
I mean, of course, Mr. X reminds me of Professor X, and if it was Professor X Nightmare, it would just be an actual nightmare brought to life. So that's what I'm imagining. I saw a TikTok or something recently that was talking about the old SNES game, maybe? But it was like an old X-Men game, and I guess the premise of it, I mean, it's an old school, it looks like the original Super Metroid, just with X-Men characters. And they described this really fourth wall breaking, cool thing I'd never heard of, where you get to a point in this game, and there's like, the point of the game is that somebody's like running a simulation to defeat the X-Men or something like that.
Yeah, it's the danger room.
The danger room.
The danger room is like
they overtake the danger room.
Yeah.
And at one point, like further, like the second to last level in the game, you get to some point and Professor X tells you that you have to like reset the simulation, and what you're supposed to do is hit the reset button on your console. It resets, and then when it loads back up, there's a brand new screen that only happens right then, and some dialogue or some text, and then it takes you to the next level of that game. And I was like, yo, that was in like 1980X or whatever, or 90X, whatever the year would have been. That's a crazy thing for a game developer to have done. And as the TikToker explains, that's in the pre-internet era. So you either found that out by experimenting, which is hitting the reset button in the middle of a run, risky business. Or you would have had to have a friend tell you, But Sav, you had mentioned the first thing you said was you're trying to kind of revive, like you're trying to bring back that like local co-op feel, that excitement you get. That word of mouth, like that, the fact even that so many of these beat 'em ups are co-op only, or sorry, they're local only. I just love that this has never gone away. Like, people have never lost their hunger for these kind of games, and they just keep getting better. Of course, I wish that I could play online with you guys. That's what I would add.
2020.
Yep.
Well, Streets of Rage, I think you could play online.
Streets of
I'm pretty
Rage.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
that one. That's the one I think in the past 3 or 4 years now that.
Well,
that is
Shredder's
actually-
Revenge too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Sky Pilgrim to some extent, but like, don't do it on the Switch
The
because you're
network,
gonna have
yeah.
a bad time. Yeah.
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 Well, maybe I should check those out. I didn't really pay attention to Shredder's Revenge, just because I think in my head I just assumed I wasn't going to be able to play it online, so I just didn't pay attention. The game looks.
We'll be
It's on
playing
Game
it
Pass.
this weekend.
Oh, that's right. That is right. Yeah, let's talk about that more at the end because I completely forgot that was on our list. How exciting!
Ooh.
Well, cool. Well, that's Streets of Rage 4. How many? Surely you've beaten that a couple times by now. You've played it a couple times, right?
Yeah. So I've beaten it with Blaze and Cherry on the Switch, and I was working through with Adam, who is Cherry's dad. But then I just recently reacquired it for Steam because I wanted to try it. Like, it was one of the games that was like great on deck or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So since the Steam Deck has more power than the Switch, I thought it might be more efficient to run and like look better and all that whatnot. It's a good experience, yeah. But since I re-downloaded it on a different platform, I'm starting from scratch
Right.
on that platform. So I mean, it's cool to go through the story and maybe try some new things, explore different ways to do stuff and whatnot. But I gotta go through with my girl Blaze first. She's the best.
Yeah.
How long is one playthrough of that?
Oh gosh. Well, there's like 12 stages, I think. So it's pretty significant. Like one story run is going to be a couple of hours.
I was just wondering, since I know that people were saying Shredder's Revenge was about 2 to 2.5 hours. I played through the entirety of Aliens vs. Predator at the arcade last week in barely an hour and 15. So it is wild how some of these beat 'em ups work, but it's good to hear.
Yeah,
that
no, like
on the
it's a
longer
good time sink, yeah. Like if you need to like kill a couple of hours, just boot up the game and there you go. I can't speak to Shredder's Revenge as far as the story mode is concerned because I haven't played that yet. I've just been doing arcade. But arcade is about like an hour and a half, something like that. Well, I played it with a teammate, so it's significantly easier. But if you're playing by yourself, it'll probably take longer.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Let's. I got one more game, and then you got one more game. Let's knock those out real quick. I've been playing that good old Spelunky 2. You know what it is. I would just say that last night I played that after Prey. Prey's broken into nice big chunks. So we finished one chunk, ironically, as Sav showed up in chat. And I was like, hey, glad you're here. We're about to stop playing this game. So I wasn't ready to into streaming yet, though, so I jumped onto Spelunky. As I mentioned, there's so much of that game I still haven't seen yet. So let me bring this up. You guys will have to watch this on Twitch. Of course, Sav, you've already seen it.
It was ridiculous.
But I'm gonna play a little bit of this background stuff, and then I'll play the clip that you took, Sav. But yeah, I explored some new stuff. Of course, I died spectacularly. It wouldn't be a game of Spelunky 2 if I didn't die spectacularly. I tried out the Egypt area, which is super, super freaking dangerous. And I immediately died. Just immediately died. I've only been to the Egypt area a few times in the entire time that I've played this game. Because every enemy there is just as dangerous as it could possibly be. Similar to your situation on Streets of Rage, I bought this game on PC after I had played a bunch of hours into it on the PlayStation. So technically it's a different save file, but it doesn't really matter. Like, there aren't real like significant unlocks or anything. The only thing that's different is that I don't have the shortcuts that I have on the PlayStation, which not really that big of a deal. But when I was trying to switch up the gameplay, it meant that I could either go to the water area that I've been to a ton of times, or in this case, since I played from earlier on, I was able to show up and go to the Egypt area. So there's this a fun way to illustrate. Oh, for those watching on Twitch, now that we're in the Egypt area, you can see all these enemies that shoot lasers that hurt you and spawn enemies when they hit, which is just so dangerous. And this Anubis over here is shooting psychic missiles at me that basically one-shot me. They go through walls, and they move super fast sometimes. But just lots of fun stuff, and the fact that I can just keep playing and find new spectacular ways to die is a lot of fun. We got a bunch of stuff on our list for this subathon that we're gonna do here this weekend. That's on Sunday from 12 p.m. Central to midnight Central, and I am gonna play my very hardest to beat the game for the first time. Like, I really, really want to beat this game just once. I don't care how it happens, but I would love to see the ending. Once we beat the ending, we can have other special challenges. There are other secret areas of the game that I found when I was poking around the wiki. They seem very difficult to reach. So I don't know if we're ever going to see those, but I have essentially been playing this as practice to try to have a winning run, my very first winning run ever in this game. So yeah, just been having a bunch of fun, and you'll see more of it. But yeah, let's. I tell you what. Before the end of the show, I'm gonna pull up the clip that Soft took last night of me just oopsing all over the place. But love this game. Yeah, love this game. And Spelunky is in my top 5. You said Streets Rage is probably your number 2 favorite game. Spelunky is. I mean.
Oh, there goes Anubis.
It's yeah. I got lasered. Spelunky's probably 2 or 3 for me. I think number 1 might be Don't Starve. I think. This is probably number 2, and then number 3 is probably like, I don't know, 3 and 4 are God of War and Hades. Number 5 is probably Celeste. I don't know, and then there's other stuff after that. But yeah. But this
it's the top 5's all that matters. Really.
Yeah, the top 5's all that matters. But it's got all that side scroller and roguelike action that I just love so very much. And to stream it on Twitch makes it a kind of multiplayer experience. It does actually have co-op, but I don't think that they're ever going to fix the netcode to make it properly playable. I will say, if I really wanted to see the end when you're in co-op, the secondary people, the non-main character, they can die and be revived, kind of like Back 4 Blood and games like that. So if I really wanted to see the end, I should just play co-op so that my allies can do all the dangerous stuff and, I can survive.
Protect the president.
But that is definitively, like, cheating, because it completely changes all of the risk and reward of the entire game. But you know what? I'm starting to get desperate. I would sure love to see the end of this game. But,
well, you were talking about those, like the secret special zones or whatever. I'm not sure if you, like, how deeply you've, like, dived into the wiki. But the streamer that I mentioned earlier, Grand Pooh Bear, he actually recently did, like, a playthrough where you can, like, reach I don't know if it's, like, a true ending or what, but it's, like, really, 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 really difficult. And, like, he's one of the only people to, like, ever do it. But Spelunky is like one of his favorite, if not his favorite, like video game franchises. And so like he did this thing like over the course of who knows how many hours. He was like live the whole time. And like Derek Yu, the developer for Mossmouth, he was in there watching when he completed it. And he broke down in tears and everything. Was like really sweet. He was just like thanking him for like all the work and like basically praising the game and everything. It was just really nice. So
yeah,
I mean, this game is. You want to talk about one of the impactful games of the year or whatever, like we did some time ago. Spelunky is probably, right up there with the ones we mentioned.
Yeah, so an interesting thing about my journey with it is that I was so looking forward to this game because the first game was the game that got me interested in roguelikes, in side scrollers and platforms, like in platformers. This game was the first for a lot of the stuff that I like now. And I was thinking about this earlier today because I was thinking about it in terms of music, but um, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that as an adult, you can still have your own formative experiences on a regular basis, right? A lot of people think that most of your formative experiences are going to come during your more traditionally formative years when you're a kid or when you're a teenager or a young adult. But when you're fully an adult, a lot of people they only want the comfort food. They only want to go back to the things they liked before because it makes them feel good, which totally makes sense. Different strokes for different folks. But playing Prey, which is a game that came out 5 years ago that I would have totally slept on if it wasn't for a documentary I saw on the making of it, I would have completely missed it. But now I get to have this brand new experience for this thing that's new to me. It's not new to the world, but it's new to me, and I get to love it. But so I say that because Spelunky 1 came out. There was a long development period between 1 and 2. And 2 came out, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. I played it every Tuesday for 3 months, maybe. And I really enjoyed it, but that kind of taught me, I was like, be careful what you wish for, or like be careful spending so much time doing what you love when you're giving yourself a schedule and a deadline that you have to meet. Where I'm like, okay, I told everybody I'd play this on Tuesdays. I'm not really in the mood for Spelunky right now, but I'm going to do it because I said I would. And that's a great way to quickly dislike something. So that's kind of what happened to me. I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep playing. The game seemed good, but I just wasn't hitting me right. And then Hades came out. And Hades is one of the best video games I've ever played. So Hades ate this game's lunch for me. And I honestly wasn't sure if I was ever going to come back to this game. But I paid attention to more coverage and I was patient and I knew that I liked it. So when it came out on Game Pass, I was like, well, I guess I'll give this another go. It doesn't cost me anything. So I jumped back in with essentially a new, fresh set of eyes and gave it a fair shake. Similar to, I played Prey because of the No-Clip documentary. I really jumped into this because IGN very forcefully gave this a 10 out of 10, which now I agree with. I didn't agree with it when I first played with it. I would have given it probably an 8. But I would give this a 10 now. I think this is one of the more polished games I've ever played. And in a roguelike, it's really easy to mess that up. It's really easy to have all sorts of variables that can suddenly and spectacularly end your run in just a way that doesn't feel good. But this doesn't really have that. You can be faced with just like a terrible, a low chance thing like here. I'm looking at a bunch of spikes down here. It's dangerous, but the more you play, the more you figure out that anything's possible. You just got to be thoughtful and patient. But I'm just so glad that I gave this game a fair shake because I almost never played it again when Hades came out. So I will beat this game. I will beat it, and I will beat it on stream sooner or later. But look forward to us playing this. Well, to me playing this on the subathon this coming Sunday. Am I going to have a winning run? Boy, that would be pretty cool. It's possible. Anything's possible. But it's a tough game. So, yeah, I'm going to need everybody's support in chat. I'm going to need so many Doritos in chat. We'll
have to spirit bomb you so you don't bomb yourself in the game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's just a whole bundle of joy. That's Spelunky 2. Go play that game. It's available on Game Pass. Full price is $20, and it goes on sale regularly across each platform, across all platforms. So thanks for letting me gush about that just a little bit more this week. I love that game. I love it.
So I'm definitely in it.
Oh, you're the pirate character wearing purple?
Oh, you knew!
Yeah, my two favorite characters are the pirate and then the Liz. The hold on. It's not the clip you took, but it's the footage from the clip you took. It's right here. Let me show y'all. Uh, this is me. My only goal right here is to unlock the shortcut that I don't have on PC. The only thing I need to do here is to save the mount. The mount, this chicken, this turkey, needs to make it to the end of the run. That's the only thing that matters. I don't even care about like when I die. I just need to get to a specific spot to unlock the shortcut. And spoiler, it dies. It doesn't work out. But yeah, my two favorite
I think
characters
it's at
are.
this point where you're like, it's not this point, but it's a little bit later. You're just like, the only thing that matters is that this mount survives, and then the chain of events occurs.
Oh my gosh! So watch this for context. This caveman you can see down at the bottom right now has no shoes on, but right now the game hasn't loaded the spikes that he's standing on, so he hasn't taken damage yet because the screen hasn't loaded. So as soon as I get down here, this barefooted caveman slips and falls on these spikes. Falls. This is here I say so turkey's got to survive. He slips and falls like a banana peel on these spikes. I jump to get out of the way, and he doesn't hit me, but he hits the turkey, and the turkey gets knocked into the man-eating plant. Oh my goodness. It's just this game, very, very clippable.
It's so good.
But I love it. It's like no matter how much I play, the drama of each run never lessens. It's like playing. I was talking to our friend Benson about. And sorry, I'm getting on a tangent here. What's new? I was talking to Benson about the appeal of battle royales and how they're very similar to roguelikes, because essentially every time you drop into a new battle royale, it's like a roguelike. It's a new run. The map is going to be a little bit different. All the players are going to be different. The weapons and tools that you're going to find along the way are all different. And it means that, like, not only is it a shooter, I mean, you can watch an arena shooter all day, but when it has those roguelike elements, man, I super died in that thing we're watching. Ouch. I got double spiked. With those roguelike elements, it adds a drama to the story that you're essentially building with each game. And that's something that you don't get in regular shooters, at least from my perspective. Yeah, so it's fun to watch people succeed and fail in games like this. So, yeah, stick around. You'll see me fail plenty of times. But
yeah, you mentioned earlier, like it doesn't, like the things don't fall together in a way that makes it feel bad. Things fall together in this game in a way that feels good. Like you fail, but you fail in a way that like makes you smile. You know?
Like sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's just like, whoa, I've never seen that before. I've seen a lot of this game, but I've never seen that combination of, enemies and spikes and all this stuff. But enough about that. Thanks again for letting me gush on this game. Sav, let's talk about the other game you've been playing.
Okay, well, I've been playing a lot of Spelunky too. No.
Vilos is like, camera off. I'm out.
Well, I mean, it does that for him anyway sometimes. Like it decides when he gets bored.
True.
So this one's actually a new one to the library. It is called Arcadegeddon, or Arcadegeddon. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it.
Second one sounds good. Arcadegeddon.
Arcadegeddon. Yeah, it does kind of roll off the tongue. But it just came out on the 5th, which as of this recording is yesterday. It was in early access for a while, and it was kind of on my radar when it was like first announced in early access or whatever, but I never actually took a look at it because at the time it was like really it didn't look good. So I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. But I've been watching some footage recently and it inspired me to actually get the game now that it's outside of early access. And I think it's $30 on Epic and Xbox and PS5. Of course, it'll be on PS Plus's, like, various tiers of plusness for free on there.
Yes, I love that.
There are the best way I could describe it from what I've experienced is like Borderlands meets Ready Player One. So the premise of it is that it's like post-apocalyptic, and this is like the world's last arcade. And the owner of that arcade designs basically a virtual world to like try and save, the arcade business. So
To
it's like
save
an
the arcade
entire.
business and kill a ton of children.
I mean,
I don't know if that's true, but that's usually how the books go, you know?
isekais, you first you get hit by a truck, now you just are trapped in the game.
You've all been there.
It's a lot of fun though, because there are the point of the game is to like find all of these leaders of different gangs. There's like so many different gangs. I think there's like 15 or something like that. And each gang has like their own aesthetic and their own cosmetics that you can unlock to customize your character. And to do that, it's kind of like in the cycle where each faction has like their own specific set of challenges and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, this is a lot like the cycle, but more, arcadey, like 80s, really cheesy, chonky, just crazy neon nonsense. But I've
80s
had some fun
cheesy
with it so far.
chonky. Let's put that down. Would you describe Streets of Rage as 80s cheesy chonky? Or is it
Actually,
like too sleek to be cheesy chonky?
It is
I
too
w-
finesse.
yeah, I would say that Double Dragon Neon is probably 80s cheesy chonky.
80s cheesy chonky. I'm writing that down. I'm remembering that. That sounds
It's in
too
the
good.
optionary.
The optionary. I don't know if we'll ever use it, but I'm gonna say it out loud so that it'll be canon. I made a joke earlier about officially naming Vilos' backlog the Vault of Vilos. It's it's right there. It's right there.
I kind of really like that though.
Well, now Vilos doesn't have a choice. He has to use this thing that he's
No.
shaking his head at.
It's a head shake of acceptance,
Yeah.
Right.
It's
It's resignation.
I love what you're saying. I'm just gonna pretend that I don't. Right? Huh?
So the Arcadegeddon does look like moment to moment gameplay looks like a Crackdown spinoff to me.
Yeah.
That looks really fun.
It's been a lot of fun. There's PvE and PvP elements, so of course you're going through there's like 6 different biomes so far that you can explore. And my favorite is like the Mystic Ruins one because of course it is. But there's also like a Hellscape one.
Say it in the soft voice.
The Mystic Ruins. We shall curse this place. But there's like the post-apocalyptic mall with a tree in it, that whole thing. Then there's like the post-apocalyptic futuristic utopia society area, and that's actually where the arcade is. That's your hub world basically. Then there's like the Hellscape, the Mystic Ruins, and just other biomes like that. And each biome will have its own kinds of enemies. And of course, with a game like this, like I said, I compared it to Borderlands because it's like a looter shooter sort of deal. There's so many weapons, all with like a different archetype. So like there's ones that are just like pew pew. There's ones that are like freezy gun rays. There's ones that can like displace people, fire large energy beams and whatnot, and all that stuff. There's even one that's a buzzsaw. Like you fire buzzsaws at people. So
Oh,
you
I
could
love
create
that.
your own disc room basically.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's a really good romp in the hay, I said earlier I was trying to recreate that, kind of sleepover youthful arcade feel, and this is one game that definitely captures that excitement.
That's awesome.
So I kind of regret not looking at it earlier than I did because what if they had like early access cosmetics? That would suck to miss out on.
Oh. Yeah, man, if only they had released a $100 bundle that you could have bought and then
Now see here.
Lol.
I've only done that 3 times.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good.
Gotta get them skins.
But I mean, the base game is $30, so that's not bad. It looks like a really good time.
It just looks fun, and I mean, shoot, there's my bar for not expectations, but like the level at which I am willing to accept a game when it has 4-player co-op. It's pretty flexible, I can play a pretty busted up game, but as long as the netcode is okay and I can hang out in Discord voice chat with the 3 of my pals, then I'm willing to try out just about anything. How are you playing that? You said it was $30 to buy.
I have it on Epic.
Cool.
On Epic Games Launcher. And the 4-player is actually fairly new. It used to be 3-player, like in its inception. So it used to be just 3 players to a team, but now it's like 4-player co-op. And then the PvP elements are kind of Mario Party-like. But they do have like, a standard like, team deathmatch mode-ish sort of deal going on. But there's other ones that are, it kind of reminds me of like Mario Party, like Fall Guys, where you're like destroying platforms or, swinging a baseball through a goal. Like I think that was actually featured in the trailer that we saw. that particular baseball one. But it's really zany, and it doesn't seem to take itself too seriously, which I like. And the character designs are really cool. Like the team that I'm actually interested in joining, which is called the CBC, the Callisto Beat Collective, which is basically like a music oriented like I want to say like Caribbean sort of deal, because the team itself hails from like these islands for like to the south of like the super city, which is the main city, and it's called Callisto, which I think is a play on Calypso, but I'm not really that deep into the lore to like figure it out. But the gang leader is called Keistro, and she's just like this big purple alien with like 4C curly afro puff, like freaking sky blue curly afro puff. She's got like a giant space dome, like wearing an astronaut suit and stuff. So automatically gravitated towards that gang. But I've yet to see her, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Well,
but their whole thing is like music oriented. So she's like constantly dancing. All the members are always talking about music and bibbing and bopping.
That's cool.
Cheesy chonky style.
Cheesy chonky style. Love it.
But yeah, it's been fun. I'm looking forward to exploring the game more.
Well, excellent. How much of that have you played? Arcadegeddon.
A grand total of the tutorial.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, man, you're like, man, this whole time I've played, I just haven't seen this character. I don't understand.
Yeah, I thought you'd at least be able to like, I mean, as far as I've seen, I haven't been able to do so yet, but I thought you may have been able to like choose your starting gang or something.
Yeah, but I mean, look, they don't just let the lackeys talk to the big boss, you know? You gotta prove your worth.
Well, we're gonna be doing that tonight for sure.
Excellent.
After, all of this work I have to do to fix my stream. But, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I was thinking, Vilos, you said before the show that Back for Blood is one of the games that really, toasts your buns. I think those were your exact words.
Did I say toast my buns?
Oh, no, wait, that was me.
You can back me up. I didn't say that.
Oh, well.
Yes.
Your computer gets very toasty from it, that and Halo Infinite. And
yes.
I've had all sorts of interesting experiences since we made the Twitch show into its current format, which for 1 week it was playing Darkest Dungeon, and it like weirdly made the whole game run at like 50% speed. The Prey stuff is good because it looks good. Like my computer is okay. My experience is good and the Twitch experience is good. But you guys, when I stream it to you on Discord, last night I experimented. I was like, what if I put it on 15 frames per second? Which for those at home is very, very low. And it still couldn't keep up with 15 frames a second. So it is nice though that my computer said, you know what, Discord matters the least. We're gonna cut that one first. Because with Darkest Dungeon, I didn't have a choice. It just said that the whole game was gonna run slow. But after you mentioning Back for Blood, I'm like, I haven't tried to stream Back for Blood in a while. So maybe I should test that out before I just go guns a-blazing into Twitch here sooner than later.
That's kind of like a Back for Blood experience, though, right? Like you go guns a-blazing into the thing, you end up in a hot mess. So.
That's absolutely right.
For the content.
For the content. I didn't have this on my list, but we did boot up Back for Blood again. We played a little of that, and all I have to say, it's good. There are a couple new enemies. There are. I saw today that I think there's a new item that looks like a jar of pee or sweat or something that you throw. I mean,
it literally could be any of the liquids in that game.
And it attracts the common ridden, the common zombies all into one spot.
Oh, kind of like the boomer bile from Left 4 Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. But yeah.
That was my favorite item.
Nice little new quality of life updates. We played on the veteran difficulty, which in the past has been very hard. Now,
shout out to our fucking teammates. Obviously, it was us and Odysseus, but we had 2 different teammates that actually stuck with us for a surprising amount of time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Actually, you know what? Because we're in here talking about it, we have to tell the world about our games of Overwatch the other night. We have to tell them about this. I forgot to even put this on our list. We played Overwatch on Friday night. Me, Sav, Odysseus, Deadpool, Shanny Pack.
Shanny was there, yeah.
And Cram?
Cram.
That seems like too many people because we had 5. Oh, because Deadpool was gone for well, really our big streak. So we played open queue in Overwatch, which is the competitive mode where none of your roles are locked. You don't have to say, hey, I want to play healer next game, and then you only get to choose between the healers during that game. Open queue says that anybody can pick any hero. You can't have any duplicates, but other than that, there are really no rules. You can have 3 tanks if you want to. You could have all DPS if you wanted to, all damage. But Deadpool's in chat saying always miss the good stuff. So the science, I think, behind this, the reason that we went on a 5-hour winning streak, we said out loud the words, we'll keep playing until we lose. And eventually the sun was starting. I mean, for you guys in Central Time, the sun must have been starting to peak up.
Yeah, I heard the birds a chirping and a twerking.
Oh my gosh. And we said we've got to call it because we're never going to lose. We just won game after game after game. And it's a funny situation when you win a game and everybody's just like, oh man, like, I guess we got to play another. It was wild. But I think the science behind it is as a team of 5, because Overwatch 1, which we were playing, has teams of 6. Since we were teams of 5, we kept getting paired against solo players. Whereas normally when we're a group of 6, we get paired against other groups of 6s who are usually very well coordinated and therefore would beat us at least once in a 5-hour period. I think it was 9 games we went undefeated. But that was wild. I've told you guys that back in my PS4 days, I went on a 14-game winning streak as the one solo player that got picked up when I played Torbjorn all the time. I got picked up into a stack of 5 players who all knew each other. And then we did the same thing. We said, we'll play until we lose. And it was like, it was 8 in the morning. It was fully the next day when we stopped playing. We never lost. We didn't lose. We just had to quit playing because, when it's 8 a.m., you have to decide how the rest of your weekend's going to look like because there's no last night or yesterday. Like, it's just today now. You're just going to take a really, really long nap. But
I think my favorite part of the whole night was when, I think it was our final game or really close to the last one where we had that teammate that was like, why do we have 2 solos on our team? But he was the solo dude. And the one of the enemies on the opposite team was like, I know you're not talking about your team, Mr. Trash Echo, because they have been kicking my ass all night.
All night. Because I thought of this.
My ass hurts.
Yeah. I thought about it because Vilos was like, oh, shout out to our rando teammates who stuck with us in Back for Blood. Well, we had 5 people in our team of 6, so we'd have somebody on our team, and the first person we had was their username was just Joe. Just Joe, Joe. And we're like, oh, we got Joe on our team. Like, oh man, I'm sure this guy's really going to win it for us. And he kind of did. Joe was great. And we're like, Joe, we love you.
Crazy Winston.
And then we got into our next game and Joe is on the other team and we're just like, no!
Deception.
And that happened 3 games in a row where the person who was on our team was then on the opposite team.
Wow.
So by the time we got to our 7th, 8th game, our ally says, why do we have 2, low-level people on our team? And Owl, the person on the other team, had been one of those people who was on our team once, but we had fought against him 2 or 3 times throughout the night because it just kept circling through. But that was so funny to see an enemy player so fervently defend our ability to play the game. You just don't see it like that. But man, what a wild ride. Lots of fun. For those of you out there, Overwatch 2 is right around the corner. Beta access you can either pay for or get through the now closed email entry or whatever you submit.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to announce the people today. So check your emails, check all your folders and stuff, spam, promotion, social, all that stuff, because the page said on or around July 6th is when they would start releasing acceptance emails and whatnot. So
nice.
Keep your eyes on your mailboxes, y'all. And if not, keep your eyes on your bank accounts, y'all.
Yeah. And otherwise, keep an eye on our Discord because we have more people than we have. We have so many games to play and so many people trying to play them. It's almost problematic that we're just Too many people.
What do we
like
do?
we play Rogue Company, and we have teams of 4, and then a 5th shows up, and we're like, oh, we'll play the 6v6 mode, no problem. But then suddenly there will be 7 people who want to play, and we're just like, uh-oh, we don't know what to do about this. Custom games, maybe?
But just a reminder to anybody that's watching the stream and is new to our Discord or hasn't even dropped by, though, we can basically guarantee that any of the games that you play in our Discord as a gang are going to be the most wholesome, least toxic that you're going to find. So
yeah, that's absolutely true. We have a wonderful group. I mean, I've had a couple people tell me how surprised they were. They're people who don't play online games with strangers. Like if they don't know everybody in the lobby, they don't play with those people, which usually means that they just play solo games all the time. So solo queue and Overwatch, solo queue and Rogue Company, all that stuff. But they played a couple rounds with us, and then the next thing you know, you see them again and again and again. And they've told me that they were just surprised at how cool everybody was, even when they weren't doing well. Because people are always nervous. They'll show up, they'll play a new game, they say, I'm not very good at this, so don't get mad. And it's really nice that everybody as a community is really cool about that. Like, nobody is ever insulting anybody's ability to play. They're never insulting anybody's like, man, why aren't you pinging? Or something. Stuff that you might say if you're playing by yourself to your teammates. But anyway, it's wonderful. I'm so happy with our community and our Discord. Voice chat can be a toxic place, but not here. So that truly is everything we've been playing, I think. I don't know. We play a lot of games around here, turns out.
We sure do.
But
in fact, just the other day, no.
I mean, I'd be here to listen to it.
We should get to the drop, though, probably.
We should get to the drop. There is a whole bunch of news we could discuss, which is very exciting. We got a couple funny ones on here. Let's transition here. I'm gonna refill my water, so hydrate or dihydrate, everybody. Water check. But we're gonna hop in here to the drop, where we aim to. Our goal is to hit these news items real quick. Just bam, 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 back and forth. We each took some of our favorite news bits from our Facebook community and our Discord, the things that everyone has shared over the past week, so that you don't have to doom scroll. You don't have to go looking for news. We can bring you the fun stuff right here. So
we do all the doom scrolling for you. Ah, no.
Yeah. Y'all do. I don't scroll like I used to, and honestly, good for my health. It's been nice. Which makes me only appreciate you guys even more. And the shout out to our community members who bring that stuff too, because when everybody just brings the stuff that they're really excited about, it's a lot more fun to discuss and absorb. I don't have to, you don't have to worry about people being really, really angry for some reason about something. But let's look at these. Let's go with the one that has all caps written in it. Sav, do you want to start with yours I have highlighted?
Yeah.
Which?
So Spelunky 2. No.
They're making a remake already. That's not true. That's not true.
The definitive edition. But no, for real, Lollipop Chainsaw is getting a remake, y'all. And for the uninitiated, it is a, Grasshopper Infrastructure / Suda 51, like hack and slash game.
Hold on.
Featuring...
Whoa, break this down. What did you just say?
Those are the people behind the game, like the studios.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Suda 51 people know for most recently the No More Heroes series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's a very super spicy, like really kind of raunchy romp in the hay hack and slash starring a cheerleader named Juliet Starling, who, as you might guess, wields a chainsaw to, be killing all the zombies and stuff. And I believe that the original script was written by James Gunn.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's also the game that introduced Jessica Negri, to like the masses. That was like her big celebrity debut as like the cosplayer to watch, and she still is. Her craftsmanship is like amazing. I mean, her eyes are up here, wink, wink, but like her craftsmanship is like really on point. She's one of the cosplayers I actually follow on Instagram because she has such good like construction and everything.
Mhm.
And also she's built well too. Speaking of. So but yeah, they are doing a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw. Now, the studio behind it is actually Dragami Games. So it's not going to be completely, it's Grasshopper Manufacture. I said infrastructure, it's manufacture. It's not going to be strictly them. It's going to be the new studio that um, is going to be responsible for the remakes here. So it's kind of like Emu taking over for Streets of Rage. You know, they're not the original studio, but I'm sure they're going to do, you know, the franchise justice. I mean, it's really hard to mess up a game like Lollipop Chainsaw, especially when it's basically like, you know, well, I say that, but
Yeah,
then
you
like
say
it's
that.
it's kind of like it's kind of like Duke Nukem, where it's like you know what to expect and somehow you're still disappointed. You know?
Well, like the thing
Well,
was
I
that
was gonna make a joke that I came here to chainsaw zombies. I assume they're zombies. I don't know. I came here to
yeah.
chainsaw zombies and eat lollipops, and I'm all out of lollipops.
I mean, it's definitely that level of it's not cringe. I guess nowadays it could be a little cringe every once in a while, but like
Yeah.
we're all familiar. Literally, all of us now are familiar with James Gunn's comedy styles, and that was the thing that really set it apart. But the story came out today because both James Gunn and Suda51 said that they don't have any involvement in it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the fact that this new company knew about the fan needs and put out the statement today or yesterday really made a difference. The only thing that I did find a little sad about it was that they mentioned that with the licensing they do have some songs that are going to be cut from the game that they're going to have to replace, which is typical of a James Gunn thing.
Yeah.
He brings in music, and obviously some of it's going to be cut out for video games.
That's the part
For
that worries me the
licensing
most,
sake.
though, because Super Meat Boy had to go through that, and it
Mhm.
wasn't like so much a licensing issue as it was like the old soundtrack with the the composer. I mean, I don't know the whole story, but like there was some kind of conflict,
Mhm.
with their arrangement, and so they couldn't get the composer, the original composer, Danny Baranowski, back for the. It wasn't like a remake or remaster or anything. I think it was just ported to the Switch or something. But the Switch version has different music because they couldn't get, the old music, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, which is sad because the old soundtrack slaps. I have that shit on my phone. I listened to it like I listened to it this morning when I went to the doctor. So like
Is it
uh,
all licensed stuff or mostly licensed stuff? I assume if it
he
got
owns all of
struck,
his
then
music.
oh, okay.
No, yeah, he like makes his own music and then he owns all of that music. You can find him like on Bandcamp and listen to everything there. But I think is that he owns his music, and so whatever conflict they had, they couldn't reach an agreement on, like in irreconcilable differences and whatnot, and they just didn't work
Mhm.
together for the Switch port.
Yeah, and in the case of Lollipop Chainsaw, the only thing that I would miss is if they replace any of the voice acting, because Michael Rooker was one of the main villains in that game, and we know him as working with James Gunn for quite a bit of things as well, literally his entire career.
He's Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, Yandu in Guardians of the Galaxy, best known for sure. But yeah, the performances in Lollipop Chainsaw were ahead of their time. Like that was the real
Ahead
PS3
of their
age.
time.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So for Tegan, you're carrying your boyfriend's head around with you the entire game
As you do.
Yeah.
because it, like I don't even remember what the deal was, because it's not like he was gonna actually like
No, they'll bring him back.
be saved
They'll bring him
from
back.
being a zombie. I don't
Well, it's kind of
like.
like what's his name from God of War.
Oh, Mimir.
Head dude.
Yeah,
Mimir,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's funny.
But
But yeah,
And he
I'm
gives you,
excited.
he tells you his jock stories from high school. He's like, wow, I remember this party. It was after the big game.
Julia's sitting there like, I don't.
I mean, it really was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Really?
He was just like throwing shit out there and talking about missing his body, and it's like, oh,
Oh,
I'm
so the head
sad.
actually does talk. I thought you were
Yeah,
Yeah.
joking.
like Juliet is basically Harley Quinn, and her poor boyfriend is there along for the ride.
Wow,
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
that's wonderful. So that's Lollipop Chainsaw. Fun. And that's the word on that. Vilos, what? Pick one of yours. Let's.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with my little one is the Game Pass July updates. Today we got Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 came back to Game Pass for some reason, but they're available on all three of the versions, so the cloud, PC, and console. So that's great to see. We also got another game. I totally forgot the name already. We got a couple indies. Yeah, we got a couple indies, and then later on this month, I think next week, next Thursday or Tuesday, something like that, we get Power Wash Simulator and Road 96. And I've been wanting both of those for quite a long time now. Road 96 came out last year. Power Wash Simulator has been around for a year and a half or so.
I'm glad you'll have access to Power Wash Simulator. I'm very surprised that you didn't already have Road 96. I would have bet money that you...
It's been in my cart at Best Buy for Switch for literally the entire time it's been released. Like the whole year and a half or so that it's been. It's...
To me, that is
I do want it on Switch
a Vilos-ass game. That is...
Yeah.
It's got the stamp on it and everything.
I mean, like on the bingo card, it's a blackout, basically.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Game Pass is striving as per usual. And we've also got that really filmic game that Chris really wanted to see. What was it? Like As Dawn something that was announced a couple weeks ago is coming in 10 days, I believe. So yeah, Game Pass July is as good as it's ever been. So if you're not already on that kick, it's still Ultimate is still 3 months for $1, I believe, and PC is 3 months for $1. So like, we can't talk about that enough.
Should I be popping?
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, Game Pass is doing its Game Pass thing. As it do, #ad. Just kidding, but maybe please Xbox. I've got this thing. I want to say, Vilos, that you shared it in our Discord, but this is that so Elden Ring came out earlier this year, and the most famous player in the whole world from that game is Let Me Solo Her, the co-op player who you can summon in. You can summon in any of your friends. Several of us have played it together when it first came out, and you could summon strangers. And this stranger that you can summon, you can change your name. So he made his name Let Me Solo Her, and he only can be summoned in front of one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. One of the most infamous bosses for sure. Millennia is her name. And so this guy's name is Let Me Solo Her because he shows up, you summon him to your world, and then he gets you to, stand back, let me do this. And then he goes in and kills the boss. Most of the time, he does it without getting hit a single time because he couldn't get hit because he'd die in one hit, since the only thing that this player wears is a pot, a jug upside down on top of his head, covering his whole entire head. The rest of him is naked, and he's just got, like, I don't know, whatever sword he uses. But just a hilarious character. I mean, a meme made real. And this character, according to this Game Rant article, this character has killed Millennia, this very difficult boss, over 2,000 times. That's crazy. That is so wild and so funny that they just keep on going. Like, their legend is already known, but they haven't stopped. The player says in their somewhere on the internet, wherever, their blog, I don't know, I could pull up the article, but this person says that they are not retired. They're still going strong. But that's not enough by itself. It's that Bandai Namco has officially recognized this player and reached out to them to send them like a mystery gift. I don't know, I
cannot wait to see what it is. It's probably...
I really hope it's like a cauldron helmet.
Yeah.
Well, they said
like the brass cauldron helmet that he's wearing in the game. I hope it's like a replica of that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Because apparently it got stuck in French customs. Bandai Namco is, I guess, shipping out, from France to wherever this player is.
Yeah.
And there was an issue with customs where they were like, nah, like you're going to need to fill out more paperwork for us to send this, which, only makes it more interesting to wonder what is in that package. But you love to see a game developer recognize a character that has essentially embedded themselves in the lore of this game, and certainly in the zeitgeist of this game. Where I even today I saw a bunch of, you can make magic cards, you can make custom magic cards using a bunch of websites online. And one of them had all these wonderful magic cards for the bosses throughout the game. And they've got great artwork and cool abilities that correspond to what they actually do in Elden Ring. And then the very last one was that player. It was Let Me Solo Her, and it's the character with buff abs and muscles and stuff, clenching their fists with the jug on their head, with the pot on their head. Yeah, so I saw that, and then I saw the article, and I was like, you know what? This person deserves it. Like, I love that this game was wildly successful, and that this person, in an online environment where pretty much everybody can be anonymous, because you can change your name at any time. Like, if I was playing with you, Vilos, so you mentioned that you might pick up the game soon, which I would love, to either watch you or play with you. Every time you summon me, I could change my name in between those games. I could change my name and my outfit and all this stuff, and I could be anonymous if I wanted to, or have a certain build to just like fit the environment, maybe whatever I wanted. But this character only wears one outfit and only has one name, and that makes them legendary. But I absolutely love that Bandai Namco recognized him with that. Excited to see what's in that package, though.
Phrasing.
I mean, he is naked.
That's true. Well, let's go back to you. Or no, Debbie, let's go back to you. Or sorry, Sovereign.
I mean, my name's out there now. The whole.
Oh, I know. I'm just playing.
The whole next wave thing kind of did that for me. So, woo!
There's no going back.
So let's go ahead and talk about a really, really big one. This one kind of like, I hate using the phrase broke the internet, but this news kind of did. It sent like a whole shockwave. Felt prominently throughout Twitter. Is where all of the real like action has been taking place, like all the real discourse on it. And that news is that Spelunky
Oh my goodness. Viles is going to end this podcast. He's going to reach...
He's going to turn it around. We're going home.
I just pushed on the brakes real hard.
Oh my goodness.
Well, the news... For real though, like Kansas City Pioneers, who is like, I mean, not to kind of do the pun thing, but they are kind of the pioneers of esports in this region, the KC metro area. I mean, we have like a whole bunch of, communities and stuff, but not really a big old esports organization, not to the level of like Cloud9 or what's the green one? Optic, KC Pioneers, they've made a name for themselves, they carved themselves out, and they are a team to keep your eye on, So they recently applied for partnership for the HCS, so they can get like all the skins and the in-game cosmetics and recognition and whatnot. And for good reason too, because since Halo 5, I think they've consistently, if not always, placed at least top 6 since Halo 5. And the team that they are currently playing with in Infinite, they were picked up during that time, kind of like a risk because they had like, it's a newly formed fledgling team. But the people behind Pioneers saw the potential of what they could do and bring to the sport. So fast forward to HCS KC, which the Halo Championship Series that was held here in the KC metro area at the Barton Hall Arena, which I was there for all weekend. It was so much fun, just absolutely electric, and probably one of my favorite memories of the year. So good. But a lot of the reason that atmosphere was so frenetic was because of the community and like the uproar that KCP brought to the arena. Like anytime POG play, quote unquote, would be made, you'd hear it's almost like going to like the football games and hearing, people cheer for their Chiefs. It would be like KCP, KCP. And you can actually hear it in some of the gameplay, like replay clips. If you go back and watch any of the footage on YouTube or Twitter, you can hear the chants, right? And it just got everybody riled up and, hype and all this stuff. So They have been supporting the community, like the Halo scene, for at least since Halo 5, and just spearheading, you know, that the Halo scene, for lack of better words. And they even had, before the HCS event, they had like a boot camp where all the teams could gather at the Royal K. What's it called? The K? The Royal Stadium with
Kaufman?
the Kaufman. Okay, I don't know.
Oh
It's
gosh.
baseball. Like it's baseball, y'all. The big Royal Stadium. They got together with the Royals and they had like a big old boot camp there where all the teams could gather and just scrim and whatnot. So obviously they're very invested in this community and the scene and making sure that it grows and is fostered and whatnot. So it seemed like they would be a shoe-in for the partnership. They have a consistently high-placing team that are like turning heads. They have all their eyes on them. They're making sure to, really provide visibility and awareness and growth to the actual environment of the game for the well-being of its tenure. So, people were just like, yeah, you guys, y'all got this. Well, they didn't.
Oh.
And nobody knows why. They haven't, 343 hasn't come forward with any kind of, at least as far as I know, with any kind of announcement. There have been some, video game pundits who have made statements that seem accurate. So one of them is from, an active investor in the Pioneers. And so his theory, I'm not sure if it's a theory or like an actual insight because he is an investor. So I'm not really sure how much how deep his foot is in the game or whatever. But what he said was, the risk involved with short-term stability, it's like I said, it's a new team. They don't have as much of a reputation as something like Cloud9 or Optic or Sentinel or, all those other ones that are already partnered with Halo. So his idea was that 343 is trying to avoid risks, which I guess had occurred in the past. Like there were errors that occurred in the past that kind of rubbed them the wrong way. But this is like a really egregious oversight. Like if they're trying to avoid errors, the whole community, the whole Halo community is up in arms, like almost torches and pitchfork styles on Twitter, just like, what are you guys doing? This is such an error, like an erroneous decision. Why? You guys are quote unquote actively killing your game, which is, the phrase that people throw around all the time.
Yeah.
In this case, it actually seems like that's what they're trying to do. With the campaign, all sorts of things went wrong with that. The co-op got delayed till forever, TM. And now this. So it's like, what? Who is in the room making these decisions and why? And who's in the room who's also saying, or not saying, hey, maybe we should probably consult some outside sources or, make sure this is a good idea because this is kind of a huge faux pas, I think.
Boo. Boo.
And I know right now I'm kind of like in the liquid cart, but it's still KCP is like a local team. I went out there the whole weekend. I was front and center for all of their games at that event. When for their final matchup against Cloud9, I think it was. We all were there was no seating in the main area. We were just sitting on the floor, and I was lying on the floor on top of my purse with like my eyes just, Walmart style breaking my neck.
Yeah.
So we could watch this game. That's the kind of support that they bring to this game, and they were somehow denied for whatever reason. So, business can. It sucks because everybody, like all of the higher ups and stuff, they're be tweeting on Twitter, super heartbroken about everything, and rightly so, because what more do you have to do?
Yeah.
Like what more could they have done?
Right.
That's very true. Like I don't like playing devil's advocate, but the point there's that they were the first. I guess they were the first really big opportunity to say they were denied. We don't know who actually is getting said partnerships.
Yeah,
For
people
whatever
are
the
talking
stuff next
about
season. So
Ascend, I think is one of them, who's like a French team. People are speculating that Ascend might be one of the, because they're only accepting 3 more right now. So I'm not sure who else applied, but Ascend seems to be like one of the front runners that the community is saying might get the partnership, which is fine, I guess. I don't really know much about them, but I do know about the Pioneers. And I don't know, maybe this is some kind of thing, like you said, maybe it's to make a statement of some kind. But what kind of statement are they making? You know.
Boo!
Usually you
Tegan
wanna like follow the money when you're a business, right? But like all signs are kind of pointing to KCP to make that money.
Yeah. I mean,
And
everything's always money driven, so someone thinks that this is the profitable path, you know. I just wonder what that arithmetic is that gets them there.
yeah, maybe he's like Stephen Strange and like he saw like all the
The
41 million
possibilities.
possibilities or whatever.
It is very weird because unfortunately or fortunately to some people it depends. I have a job that's in the tech field technically. Um, Kansas City is being hailed as a tech hub for better or worse.
Dude,
I've
that's what
got
I tell
lots of
people when
views
I'm
on
out
that.
here. I'm always telling you, like, today we're in the process of upgrading our internet because I'm tired of having internet that is more expensive and so much worse than Kansas City. It's
Yeah.
shocking.
But I mean, like the jobs are coming here again for better and for worse. We've had Amazon for quite a while, but we've had Cerner for a long time. But of course, we're losing part of that as well due to their buyout or what have you. But there's things like today I forget the company name. If I knew the company name right now, I would call them out.
Wait,
But
which company?
where no, that
They're
I
too
don't know. That's what I
insignificant
just
to
said.
matter.
No, there is a gaming development. I'm gonna say quote unquote development company that is working in blockchain and crypto. Yeah, I saw job postings for it earlier today, and I cringed so hard. But like those opportunities in gaming are here in Kansas City, so it will be very valid to see the why behind it. I'm definitely going to keep
No,
tabs on
it's
this
the
and tell
K.
you what
The
to do.
K is the stadium, not the Y.
So yeah, we'll be waiting with bated breath to hear what you have to say on the future of it when we get some concrete.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably just going to release that. You know how corporate companies do, where they just have like the wall of text on Twitter. You know, we're reaching out to say we're sorry, blah blah blah. Thanks, management. You know.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I don't think any of us have this on here, but I'm gonna say it because it's funny because of the wall of text. What game was delayed today? Forspoken? Is that what it was?
Forspoken. Yeah.
Well, Forspoken was delayed. Everybody, that's the news. You know, when you
Wall
see
of text.
the picture with the wall of text and the color around it, and then like a logo, you're like, all right,
Bruh.
it's a delay. What is it
And
this time?
this is like the third or fourth one we've seen for Forspoken too.
Dude, don't
It's very
tell
sad.
people when your game's coming out. Just make the game, and then when you're pretty close, you have to be within 12 months. Like that's Tegan's rule of marketing. Don't freaking tell me when it's going to come out unless it's
Yeah.
within 12 months and you can do it. Like you can really do it. Because I
I
don't care when
will
it comes
still
out.
say-
Just don't delay it 4 times. If you don't tell me when it comes out, you don't delay it.
I still will say it's a positive for the developers
Oh
of
yeah, because
Forspoken
they don't have to do like crunch time or whatever.
in multiple ways.
What?
Blame Square Enix for this bullshit. For a lot of bullshit.
I didn't even read it.
especially this
I
one.
just saw a
but
delay. I'm not
yeah,
mad about it
it's
because
officially next year.
usually it does mean they're avoiding crunch, which is a good thing. I don't care when stuff comes out. Just make sure that it's fully cooked when it gets here, you know? But like it's bad for your game. Lots of people don't feel that way and they just see a delay and that's bad and it makes them angry. You know, I'm not one of those people, but you do that and it's bad for the health of your player base. So I don't know.
Yeah,
just,
like the morale ends up being super low because they end up losing faith in you. It's like, well,
yeah,
I
look
mean,
at Cyberpunk.
have to
You
delete
know,
it?
No Man's Sky. Well, No Man's Sky
Exactly.
wasn't a
Well,
delay
then it's
issue,
not gonna
but
turn it around. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
It did take them like 5 years though.
Yeah, that was just that's the other side of that 12-month rule. Don't even. Yeah. It's a whole thing. But anyway, it got delayed. It'll be here when it gets here, and I hope it's good when it comes out. So
maybe that's what's happening with KCP. Maybe their induction was just delayed.
Yeah.
TM.
TM.
And then we're gonna get the wall of text from is it 343? I've been saying that, but is
Yeah,
it
343 Halo? Yeah.
We'll be seeing that then. And it's crazy because HCS was I mean, Kansas City was a city for that event. It's like I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I will be interested to hear like the follow up to that, because you two will be much more likely than me to like hear it through the grapevine, you know. But I'm sure someone's gonna spill the beans on what's going on, so I'll be interested to hear the follow up to that. The only other thing that I've got on this list is today we saw a new short little 30-second God of War trailer, a little cinematic. No gameplay, but that's perfectly fine. I'll tell you more about that here in a second, but we got a release date, which is November 9th. That's exciting. I hope that doesn't get delayed. I don't have the impression that it will though.
You didn't even say the game.
Yeah, I did God of War.
I could swear you didn't say it. But...
Well, now I feel like a fool. Anyway, God of War
Let's go back.
God of War is a cool video game that got a new cinematic trailer. Yeah, release date November 9th, and I'd be surprised.
Starring Dad and Boy.
Dad and Boy, but he's not. he's like teenager now, so now he's gonna have to be like teen son.
Young man.
Yeah.
Young man.
I do actually wonder, because you know that when they're writing it, it's like, well, you called him boy this whole time, and yeah, he's still like young. But
did he ever actually say Atreus like?
Oh yeah, he said Atreus all the time
in the first game. Okay.
Oh yeah, he just said boy.
Sure.
You know, when he was being stern, which made it funny because usually he's like over dadding, and Atreus is like, come on, you know, let me do my thing. But in this short little cinematic trailer, we didn't see anything like, you know, earth-shattering or anything like that. From like, you know, we didn't see anything that we didn't expect. But you see, you know, dad and son. You see Kratos and Atreus, you know, killing Draugr and stuff, kicking butt with the shield, the axe, you know, the Leviathan axe, and then Atreus with his bow. And then the words you hear Kratos speaking, it says, when you are at your weakest and fear and doubt are a burden too heavy to bear, remember this, you are not alone, which I think is a wonderful thing for not just the game, but just for everybody out in the world right now. And the final vision is, you know, the final scene is you see Atreus walking up, but of course he looks older, which is why I mentioned it. He looks like a teenager now. Standing a little taller next to his tall-ass dad. Kratos is supposed to be like 7 feet tall. And
oh, child.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Big boy. And you kind of see him, you know, backlit or whatever, and in front of them, way up huge and tall, is Fenrir, the legendary wolf from Norse mythology, which we knew was going to appear, not just because, you know, Norse mythology, but because the story of the first game shows what's going to happen. Like, for anybody who doesn't know Norse mythology essentially works in a cycle where there's a beginning and an end, but the end of these like prophecies is also the beginning, and it all just starts over again. Like, it sets the stage for the beginning of civilization with all the same characters. So the idea is like the world serpent. When you see the world serpent in the first game, you actually learn from Mimir, who we were talking about earlier, that the world serpent is like basically taking a giant nap because like the cycle already happened, and the world serpent is tired from Ragnarok, which already happened because it's a cycle. And so now you're approaching Ragnarok again, except this time Kratos is in the cycle. So what makes this so interesting is that if this is a cycle that everything's predetermined and the beginning is also the end, if this is Kratos' first time here, what are the implications of that for the rest of this world? Especially with revelations that I'm not going to spoil here at the end of the first game. Really excited about that because we knew we were going to see Thor, which you've seen in a trailer already. We knew that we were going to see the wolves because they're like famously chasing the sun and the moon in the sky. I think I've got that right. But we certainly hadn't seen it in CGI. We certainly hadn't seen it in a trailer. So I'm just as excited as I've ever been for that. But go check out that trailer, 30 seconds long. Release date November 9th. Very excited for that. I gotta go platinum the first game before I get all sucked up and enraptured by the second one. So that's it for me. Sav, back to you. You got one more.
I will talk about this one's kind of going to be like a brief one, a small one. But Pokemon Go is celebrating its 6th anniversary. It seems like it's ages ago when everybody was out and about in the metro, uniting with one another and becoming friends and trading Pokemon and everything. I mean, that was probably like the best summer
Oh my
of
gosh.
this lifetime.
Modern Summer of Love. I remember being on the plaza and somebody was like, it was like some sick ass water Pokemon. It wasn't like a Gyarados, but it was like, there's like a Dratini over here or something, or maybe a Lapras or something. And the entire plaza, the blocks and blocks of people at the plaza, all just went to the Brush Creek. And I was like, yo, this is a crazy phenomenon. And everybody's like shouting across, they're like, what are you running for? There's a blah, blah, blah over here. Oh, dude. And you see that person turn around and yell to their friends further away.
Oh, man, I miss it.
And
But now we're like,
knowing the behind the scenes of Niantic and how they worked in Kansas City, it is wild because like almost nowhere in the States had the presence that KC and specifically the Plaza had, as far as just total audience and stops combined. Like it was just impossible to not play Pokemon Go when it came out.
I mean, it's definitely, how when a movie comes out and they're like, you have to see it on the big screen. I mean, that's kind of the same vibe that you get from that. It's like, you had to be there,
Yeah.
for that. But they're celebrating their 6th anniversary. And a major part of this anniversary is to celebrate number 6 in the National Pokedex, which is Charizard.
Oh, you hate to see
Never
it.
celebrated him before.
Man, this is
only every generation. So he's getting rather, because it's gonna be male or female. Charizard is getting more attention because it's a spoiled little brat, and so you can find
wait,
like a
hold
party
on.
hat variant.
Beep, 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 beep. Breaking news: Charizard has actually been accepted into the HCS. This is crazy.
I'm sick.
Truly is spoiled.
Yeah.
Wow. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, like if there were any kind of crossover like that,
Groundbreaking. Truly.
That's who you put the money behind, though. Every time.
Gosh.
About Charizard.
It is funny to hear your like disdain for the overpopularization of Charizard over the years. You're like,
it's not even good. Like I would get it if it was a good Pokemon to use in battle, but it needed like 6 different forms. They're all still bad in the meta. I don't get it.
Okay, but never forget that the character was the best character in the TV show, because you know what Charizard did? Sleep and say no.
Hey, you know what? At least they established boundaries. We all need to do that.
That's when our generation learned consent.
In the Pokemon Go celebration though that they have going on right now, you can get a party hat variant. So it's going to be wearing like a little conical red hat, and you can find increased odds of it being shiny in the wild. But also more Pokemon are appearing. So there is Pansear, which is the fire monkey from Generation 5.
Wait,
and it could also be shiny.
Pansear. Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, Pinsir is already a Pokemon, but they changed one letter. They're getting sloppy over here. Getting sloppy.
Well, that's what they did for Corsola. In Generation 8, Corsola evolves from the rock water type into just a ghost type because it's dead coral. Rest in peace. So it goes from Corsola to Cursola. So, I mean, that's a thing that they've done before.
But at least it's an evolution. They're not just like,
Fair.
They're like, all right, this shark torpedo is called Sharpedo. But we're going to make a crab that lives on the shore, but it's shaped like a torpedo. It's going to be Shorepedo.
Oh my God.
We're going to ship it.
You better not let the Pokemon Company hear you, because I mean, they're writing it down.
Yeah, that's right.
But Pansear and Unknown E are also going to be appearing, both of which can also be shiny. And the original 3 Cantonian starters, they will be appearing, as well as other Pokemon that are fan favorites, such as Ralts and Baniri, which are actually 2 of my top 5 Pokemon. So, hey.
Nice.
Yep. So big old anniversary celebration for Pokemon Go. They are recently wrapping up, I think, an event in Berlin, one of their Go Fests or something like that. And then there are 2 more that they're expecting to occur in the near future. More Go Fests. But all of the raids are coming back. So it'll feature the 3 starters, including the one. And Dratini is actually one of the raids. So that's funny that you mentioned it. And Metagross doesn't have a chance to be shiny, but Zapdos will appear, and it does. And of course, the Mega raids are going to be Charizard X, Mega Charizard X, and Mega Charizard Y, because
Of course.
We're celebrating Charizard. Yay!
It's a dragon. You just
It's Dragon, my last
kind
name.
of a dragon.
He's a flying fire type.
Wow.
Who has plenty of good replacements.
I mean, you're not wrong. Also new cosmetics, sitting around at parties, so like birthday cake hacks and tuxedos and whatnot. And yeah, just other stuff. So if you're curious about the event, you could just go to PokemonGoLive.com, and there's a post right there, smack front and center. You can also check their Twitter. They break everything down. Of course, Shadow Pokemon are going to be making a return, and so you get to read about those as well. And yeah, and the promotional art is actually the most interesting part about this. Is the promotional art features Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott, who are in Pokemon Legends Arceus, the starters that you could choose from in that. So we're thinking that Hisuian Pokemon and their variants are going to be making an appearance sometime soon. And there are going to be new characters as well making an appearance, one of whom is a beautiful black woman dressed in purple and gold that I am obsessed with finding out information on.
Oh,
so
I
if
saw
anybody
you share.
learns anything, please, my DMs are open.
We got the list of the
Please.
inside scoop. We got Halo, HCS. We've got say this character's name again, or with the info that we
don't
do know.
This character's
Th-
name.
so
They haven't been.
But it's for what? I saw you share the artwork
It was promotional art for the 6th anniversary.
for
of
6th
Pokemon Go.
anniversary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is top of the list. So, what's a currency we can give out? 5 million Zinni to the person who shows up with a picture of Spider-Man, and either of those 2 things.
We are now in the Dragon Ball world, apparently.
That's right. It was the only fake currency I could think of.
I mean, hey, if Charizard wants to be a dragon so badly, you could just wish for it. Just saying.
Wow.
You get the power of a dragon from a real dragon.
Yeah, why isn't Shenron in the Pokemon universe, right? Give the people what they want. That's true.
It's right there.
Wow.
Speaking of the TCG as well has Pokemon Go cards officially released last week, and they are awesome. I focus on Spark. Can we get there? No, it's gonna be way too damn shiny and out of focus. Yeah, this is the beautiful full art, a beautiful full out Spark.
You had those ready to go.
Oh my god! But I cannot focus on it enough just because it's so freaking shiny. The cards are awesome. Spark.
Yay! Oh my god, I want it. I'm stealing it right now.
Yeah, it's right here. You can almost see it.
Well, she's just walking with the new character, the black woman. I mentioned earlier.
There are some really amazing.
Wait, hold on. Actually,
set though.
Okay, can you show us that one more time? I can actually blow this up. Hold on.
Okay, if focus wise, it'll be right about here.
Okay, that's good. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful.
I can't see the stream, but maybe.
You're doing great.
Oh, nice.
Now it's darker.
Yeah, there we go. That's much better.
Well, I mean, it was good.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
Oh, Beautimus.
But yeah, they have a lot of these full art promos in some boxes and stuff right now, but I think the set is like 75-ish cards. Super cool. Just if you're into Pokemon Go, there's a lot of great things happening right now.
Heck yeah.
I need to get like one of those giant-sized cards of Spark. Just hang it right over my bed like you did in the 90s, That said, if anybody knows like a good body pillow maker,
I'm sure we could find you one of those.
Well, Vilos, you got 2 things on here. If I knew how to count, I would have started with you.
Yeah, I was a little confused, but I was just like,
I mean, yeah.
You
So
know,
we spoke about Halo earlier. This one will be quick. I'll go with this one. So Halo. So 343 went on this whole spiel on a blog post today about mods coming up, and this post was seriously massive. But anybody that wants to read it, I'll drop it in chat here. This blog post goes over a ton of mods that they're working on with certain parts of the community, because 343 is actually recovering a shit ton of old content that they had. So anybody familiar with the 1999 Mac show that Halo had, which I have on a disc that I got with a bonus for, I feel like it was Halo 2. There was a Mac show that really made Halo pop before Microsoft officially bought Halo. And so content from that, when Halo was actually transitioning from being an RTS to a first-person shooter, content from that, and content from the cutting room floor of Halo 2 are all this stuff was given to modders, and 343 is working together with them to bring back a lot of cool things. One of those projects that they're working on is the 2003 E3 Halo 2 demo, which was the hypest Halo moment ever until Halo 3's trailer reveal. But
yeah, man, I remember watching that a lot of times.
yeah, but the Earth City demo in 2003 was so good, was ridiculously good, and when it was not something that actually happened in Halo 2, there was some disappointment.
Indeed.
And so there's not a release date on it, but whenever this comes out, it's on.
I love that that's like an official 343 collaboration. Like that's not just like, hey, somebody's got it in their backyard, and they're going to connect it to the internet, and then you can play at your own risk kind of situation.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also a ton of weapons from the 1999 show, the Apple show. Like they had a massive flamethrower that was a joke, and like obviously we ended up getting a flamethrower in Halo 3.
Yeah.
And except on the Apple show that they did, the flamethrower shot like 100 feet. like not even kidding. It was so ridiculous. And so that's one of the things that they've got. They've got some old creepy aliens, like animals that you could just kill originally, and then a couple other weapons and vehicles and stuff like that. So it's going to be really exciting. There's, again, not a time that we can look forward to, but just the fact that 343 is working on them with modders is really cool, and looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's something I never thought would be playable. When I straight up had to double take when I read what you'd shared. I was just like, is this real? Or is this like, rumor mill kind of a wish list kind of thing?
Yeah.
The way that we see like Sky Oblivion, the remakes that turn Elder Scrolls 4 into, pull the engine from Skyrim into that, or Morrowind. And, but those are always like, it's a work in progress. Also, it's unofficial. We hope we don't get shut down. So like, we're glad you're publicizing it, but like, not too much, okay?
Yeah, because they're gonna have to somehow fit it into all the playable PC versions of Halo 2, which obviously it's in the Master Chief Collection right now. So they've got some logistical things to work out.
So that means when I want to play just this tiny playable demo of this thing, I'm gonna have to download 137 gigabytes of game, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Master Chief Collection.
When like Forge mode is coming. Like, where is it?
Yeah, that's still on the way. I don't know if you saw also on Twitter, there was a quote unquote leak of somebody actually got some video of it and showed off. They were making a little scene of Master Chief like standing around like a barbecue pit or something like that on one of the maps, and then they grew Master Chief. They grew him to basically be the entire size of a level. Like,
that's
huge. So
the drugs that they pump into Spartans are just incredible.
about to say modern day medicine is amazing.
So it'll be really interesting if this leak was not made up, because it didn't look made up. It looked like what Forge always has looked like, except it was in the Infinite engine. So it's gonna be wild.
Heck yeah.
Then the next bit of news, my favorite news of the day, the stupid rumors were all over Twitter for like 3 solid days, and they were all dumb, and they were all about Switch Pro, and that's the only time you're going to hear that combination until one's actually released come out of my mouth.
Carlos, you forgot to say the game. You forgot that.
I did. So instead of rumors, we got the announcement of the Splatoon OLED Switch console. Ugh, it's so sexy.
It's so good. It's so beautiful.
It is nice. If you haven't seen it, come on. You had to have seen it today, but the left Joy-Con is purple with a gradient. The right Joy-Con is neon green with a gradient.
Y'all know those are my signature colors.
Like,
I mean, y'all know.
Exactly. They are etched. The whole system is etched. Again, it's an OLED system, as well as it comes out on August 26th, a full 2 weeks for some reason before the game Splatoon 3 comes out.
Oh, really?
But yeah. And there's also a Pro controller, and of course a game case or whatever.
I didn't find the Pro controller as impressive as the native Joy-Con, and not just because of the color scheme. It didn't seem like it was given the same like love that the actual system and dock were given. Because you look at that, I mean, even the Joy-Con, like on the back, there are the different markings. Like you have the Octoling spots and the Inkling, like they're not spots, they're like cheetah spots basically.
Yeah.
Well, I have that reversed because Octolings have the cheetah, the leopard spots or whatever, and then Inklings are solid dots. But those are on the back of each respective controller because the purple one is Octoling themed and the green was Inkling themed. And then of course you have like all of the etching on the back of all the different ink splatters and whatnot. Like a lot of work went into the system itself. And then you look at the Pro controller, it's just like,
Yeah, I still contend, even though I almost got the first Splatoon Pro controller, I will still contend that the Xenoblade Pro controller is the number one and has stood in that spot for quite a long time.
I think your bias is showing.
Whoa! Let's get a close up of that.
Let's see that bias. Let's get a close up of that bias.
Can't roll fast enough. All right, we got in focus now. There we go. This.
Oh, hold on. We can do it again. Hold on.
Come on. This thing is.
Oh, wrong person. There we go.
This thing is so sexy. The back is a little plain right here, but this controller is so great.
That's cool. I do like that.
In form and function. And yeah, the Splatoon 3 one just doesn't quite look as good as even the original one did. But
yeah, the Splatoon 2 one looks a lot better to me. I don't know if it's just the color scheme or what, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. So in short, we're all getting OLEDs now, so we have to.
Sorry, Animal Crossing one. You had your run.
Yep.
Time for you to move off the island.
And with that, I'm actually going to transition into my last news bit, and that is that Xenoblade 3 Special Edition went back on sale, and the exact same thing happened that happened on the 9th or the 8th or whatever of June. The exact same thing happened, in which case the entirety of Nintendo's eShop just decided to crap out on us as everybody was trying to get in. Nintendo didn't foresee people wanting the Xenoblade Special Edition, I guess.
Their website only supports like 50 people in the whole world.
Yeah, it pretty much does. So the first time around, there was a limit of 2 per person, and basically nobody got Xenoblade in their cart. There were a handful of people that actually got the game the first time around. So on the 30th, Nintendo changed things and actually made the limit 1 per person, which thank you, Nintendo, for doing that.
But what if you need 2 copies?
You don't need 2 copies.
But I want that fresh feeling of starting over, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you
So
beat a game, you throw it in the trash. You want to start a new game, you buy a new one, you know?
that's exactly how people are treating the special edition of Xenoblade 3. So some of us actually got it this time, which is fantastic. I got mine. It took me, so it went on sale officially at 12:30 Central, which, by the way, they did not announce a time this time, and it still happened. It went on sale at 12:30. I got mine officially at 4:45.
Oh my gosh.
Guess what? I was on the internet the entire fucking day trying to deal with the cart system. And Lang was talking to me in Discord, and we were both like, ah! The whole
Dude.
time.
Oh my
It's like
just trying to
the
figure it out.
it's like that Razor Mask debacle. It happened the same thing then.
Yeah.
You know, what is it with like just do it right the first time. Don't just like throttle everything. Just make it so that everyone can get on and get their thing, and then if you sell out, then it feels well earned or whatever.
Or like you guys had talked about, make it like the Steam Deck, and don't make it for orders. Make it make the line of people waiting to do something. Make the line say like, "Hey, I want to get the game. I'm saving a spot so that later I will have the chance to buy the game," so that they can register what the demand is to then have the supply meet that. Because when you do this,
that's actually a really smart way to do that.
yeah, and so when I was watching this conversation unfold on Discord again, I thought it was kind of a joke because I was like, surely, either number one, surely Nintendo's not doing the same thing they do literally every time. From my perspective, I'm never the one in the driver's seat. Or surely you guys aren't actually upset because the thing that Nintendo does every single time happened, you know, which of course you're completely validated for doing that. But like I read this and I'm just like, why I was like, honestly, like not from a point of snark. Why does Nintendo do this when they know better? They have the resources to do better. They know that it's going to happen because it happens every single time. Why do they choose? Why do they make the decision to have their website be like this and their queue system be like this? I saw you guys talking about how you got to a landing page where it says, "Hey, don't leave this page. This is how you're holding a spot in line." But the only people who got through were people who left the page and just tried again.
Every time. And so like they made it where not only did they do that to you, but the whole thing, for some reason, they kicked everybody out of the system. So if you decided to log out of Nintendo.com and then sign back in right before you thought that you were going to get it, they signed everybody out, period. And
that's not good.
Then it would show in the cart, it would show that you were a guest that you hadn't signed in yet and you had something in your cart. And then you sign in if it eventually let you sign in. It almost never did. Then you would sign in and you would hit the cart button again because it said you had something in there, and it would say, "Oh, looks like you don't have anything in your cart."
No.
It's exactly what happened with the Razor Masks.
Dude.
Yeah, and so
don't tempt me.
At the end of the day, when I was literally about to give up, I'm like, I just have two tabs open. I have a Chrome tab open and I have an Edge tab open. Let's see what happens first.
You used Edge? Oh my gosh, you were desperate.
Hey, I use Edge as my primary web browser. I will tell you, it's actually pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
Surprisingly. So I popped in an SNES controller because I was like, what if I just had something else in my cart? Is that going to make my cart show up correctly? And guess what? 10 minutes after I got the SNES controller in, it showed up. And I was like, fuck.
What?
Okay, so I just pushed it. I made the order. Like the Xenoblade's $90. And the SNES controller is $30. I was like, fuck it. I don't care. I had the money at the time. It's like, this is my one shot at getting it. I pushed it and my order was processing. The order was just stuck there for a while. It took me an hour and a half to get my confirmation email. and
gosh.
some people
To confirm
were
that you
waiting
paid
longer than
$30
that.
extra because the only way the cart worked
Yeah.
was to buy more things. Oh my!
As far as I knew,
goodness.
You
yeah.
open up the email, it's just like, gotcha, you stupid idiot.
Yeah. And it felt like that because like
Oh.
the next day I had already gotten my shipping notification for the SNES controller the next day. I was like, are you serious? Like, you can do that, but you can't have Xenoblade 3 as an actual item that you can just pick up. All right, cool.
Welcome to Nintendo.
Oh.
Yeah. And
For
it's
better or worse.
absolute trash because Xenoblade 2 was the first Xenoblade on Switch. That was available at retail. I bought the special edition at Target 2 years after release.
When it was
I had
finally
bought
in
the game
stock.
already. Yeah. I had bought the game already, but it was just still on the shelf at Target 2 years later. And I was like, you know what? I got to do that. I had already played through the game and realized that it was my favorite game of all time.
So then you threw it away and you bought a new one.
Exactly. And then Xenoblade 1, the definitive edition, came out in 2020, and it was readily available at retail. And I bought that day one at GameStop. Had no issues at all. So this was all just completely unnecessary.
You know,
Thanks, Nintendo.
Lang always preaches that he actually uses GameStop now specifically because it sidesteps so many of these issues.
Yeah.
Where like, yeah, you do have to, and not just Nintendo, just with anything, it solves the scarcity problem because scarcity is artificially created by scalpers, at least in the past half decade it is. And scalpers aren't going into your local GameStop to buy one of the 2, deluxe edition copies that they've got in the whole store. You know, they're not doing that. So going to GameStop, you might have to go to like 2 different stores to find it, but you will find it, which is just funny because like, other than that, I'm like, why would I go to a GameStop? I mean, there are kind of reasons, but they're like, they apply
They're
to a small
shameful,
number of
like,
people.
None of us want to go to GameStop, but we'll go to GameStop.
Right.
Yeah, we put on our scarf and glasses, and we're just like,
Yeah,
hey, can I get a,
Yeah.
You don't know me. I go in there with my fucking mask, and they know me every damn time. It's like,
They're like, do you have a rewards membership? And you're like, yeah, but don't let anybody see.
Yeah, don't let anybody know.
I have the quote unquote basic one. Quote unquote.
Quote unquote. And the of course the eBay scalpers were already up that day with listings of $300 on eBay. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. But there are definitely some people that might have to, and that's the worst.
Yeah, just ain't right. Just ain't right. Well then that I think is the drop. That was our, like I said, a completely failed attempt at moving quickly through the news items because because this is really fun. It's really fun to talk about all this stuff. So thanks for everybody for hanging out with us, and I hope we allowed you to enjoy some not doom scrolling. We brought you the news in a fun fashion,
Right.
and we'll do it again. That's a threat. But I think, yeah, that's gonna be it for that. We told you about all sorts of stuff we've been playing. We are going to play, I think, Darkest Dungeon after this. I think it'll just be me in here. You'll see my bright, well-lit, smiling face and my green screen that I'm just never, I'm just never gonna turn it into an actual green screen. It'll just always be green. I'll be playing that, but in some fashion, we'll probably have Vilos and Sav in here in chat. But this has been the podcast version of the Party Invite Show. So thanks everybody who's stuck around so far on Twitch, and anybody who's listening ahead in the future. If you'd like to get the full experience, which includes chat, which we often react to but not always, hit us up on Twitch. That is twitch.tv/partyinviteshow. You can find our Discord and all of our other socials on our website. That is partyinvite.games. On our website, you can find some blog articles. I guess that's redundant. By Vilos here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find that, and you can also find. I'm not even sure if it's up there right now, but we have our subathon coming up on Sunday, which is 4 days away. 7/10. That'll be July 10th. That'll be from noon to midnight Central Time. We've got a bunch of stuff lined up. I mentioned earlier we're going to have Spelunky. We're going to have Shredder's Revenge, and some other stuff. But we're gonna post that full lineup later this week. But we would love if you came and support us. A subathon, for those who aren't familiar, is since this is our first one, this is our first attempt at really trying to invest in ourselves to make our stream better. Invest in pay some artists to really fluff up the place a little bit. Add some, like, I would love to get some custom music sometimes, like a party invite theme song and all that stuff. So a subathon helps us pay for that. You watch us on Twitch, you subscribe to our channel and get access to some emotes and all that good stuff. But yeah, join us on Sunday and give us some support, even if you just tune in, or even if you hit the share button to tell a Twitch viewer in your life that we're here. We would absolutely love that. It would help us tremendously.
We would love you forever.
We would love you forever.
Forever.
And perhaps, it'd be easy to tell who subbed and all that and gave gift subs. And maybe we could immortalize that in our Discord for you forever. So, yeah, stick around for more information on that. But this wraps up the audio segment. I have been Tegan. That black screen over there is Vilos. And
the black person over here is Sop.
Hey. So we'll take a short break, but thank you everybody for sticking around. We will catch you next week.
Bye.